Welcome to ScavTalk. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about getting ready for the wipe, prepping for the wipe. It's coming. We're talking about weapons, keys, progression changes with the hideout, and those like new tool thingies that they changed. What do they call it? Like, is there even an official name for them?
Not even sure if there is yet.
Nonetheless, it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and of course, what gun slash ammo you should be using for the wipe.
It'd be pretty exciting. Then we're likely to be discussing the events so far. So airdrops, 2006, bosses on customs, barter only, peacekeeper in his letter, all of that good stuff. All of the events and lore and things that are going to lead us up to the pre-wipe and the actual wipe itself.
Speaking of wipe, wipe date confirm? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know, kind of sus.
I guess we will see. And then finally, we'll be looking at the level distribution of the various players across the land of Tarkov. It's always good at the end of a wipe to take a step back and think about the broad spectrum of players, where people actually end up, because sometimes it's a little bit different to how you might expect it when you're playing, reading stuff online, and just hearing people talk about everybody's got all the good gear, etc., etc. So that's what we've got coming up today. Should be pretty exciting. So, I mean, guess diving right in to the main feature today, which is going to be getting ready for the wipe. I don't know about you, Church, but I'm definitely excited. I actually did do a video on this recently.
Uh-huh.
It's relatively short and compact, and I think that there's a lot more to talk about that's a bit more fluffy. Like the things that I put in there is like some of the definite stuff and the things that sort of you should generally consider. But there's actually a lot of meat there, I think, in terms of like what we actually need to do. Um, I mean, I guess like the first thing, the easy one to broach the topic on is the very first thing that most players are doing these days. And I've seen lots of people talk about this now. Like this used to be kind of a rare thing, but now people are doing this all the time, which is the whole go through and identify all the stuff, and then
Oh,
you get to level
yes.
two. If you don't get the quest, if you don't get the introduction quest from mechanic to meet Jager, when you hit level two, you have to either just like go into an offline raid or something and then cancel it and go back, because sometimes you need to like resync with the server. You can close the game and reopen it, but that's kind of dangerous because the launcher can be a little troublesome on the wipe day. So it's much safer to go into like an offline factory raid because it's really fast to load, cancel it and close out. And what that does is that like forces like a refresh with
I
the item
see.
server and like the quest server and that kind of thing. So then you get, because sometimes you don't get introduction straight away if you hit when you hit level two. If you don't get a quest when you think you should, that's actually one way to do that. And sometimes there's a bug if you level up, say like outside of the raid. So you do another quest and it just tips you over or whatever. You don't always get all the quests unlocked straight away. But anyway, so that's something that I've seen for a bit that people are thinking of doing. I don't know. Is that like a route that you've ever gone down, or do you just like face plant straight through customs?
I think once I saw Airwing, because he does the same thing. That's like in his guides as well. I think I inherited that as well. I can't say for certain. I think usually I was like faceplant the customs because you just kill
Mm.
the scavs and then buy the shotgun. Can you still buy? I can't even remember now. With the really extreme found and raid changes. Like you could still buy
Yeah,
the shotguns, right? That's like the only quest you can buy and flip, right? If I'm not
pretty
mistaken.
much. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because that one,
That's such
even
a
now,
weird one.
still isn't finding raid for the 133s. So this one specifically, the debut quest, I'm sure everybody knows what we're talking about. But for those of you who
Hmm.
maybe are newer or forgot, or maybe it's your first wipe and you did that quest ages ago and you haven't done it a second time, that first quest from Prapor debut, you have to kill 5 scavs on customs, which is full of people at the beginning. And you also have to get the two 133 shotguns. The beauty of doing it, the other alternative method is that you, as we said, you identify everything. It gives you enough XP. Sometimes you have to go to fence to identify some random items as they come through. You then get acquaintance. You then run woods, maybe at night. I don't really like doing night woods, but some people love doing night woods. You go and get the letter. You bring it back. You then open up Jaeger. You can then go and do debut. And if you kill the 5 scavs without finding the 133 shotguns, then you can buy them directly from Jaeger and hand them in, because it's one of the only quests these days that isn't find in raid specific, which is quite handy. I put this in my guide. I think it's a good thing, but it's an interesting one to start with because not everybody does it this way. A lot of people seem to be doing it this way. It's quite popular
Hmm.
these days. It doesn't really matter. Like you have to go and get the letter at
Right.
some point. You have to kill the scavs at some point.
Right.
You could always kill the scavs. Like 'cause normally you kill the 5 scavs before you find the 133s. So broadly speaking, it doesn't matter too much because you could always kill the scavs, then go and do acquaintance, then buy the
Right.
133s and give them to him. But I don't know. I think it sort of bucks the trend a little bit for most people who just run customs instantly
Hmm.
because then you can do the woods one and get the letter before. Well, I guess like before other people are doing it. But
Yeah.
I've always been a little bit skeptical of like the method because surely people who are onwards, like you're still going to get queued with enough people onwards to make a full raid, and anyone who's onwards, those 10 people you're with, surely they're there to do the letter. So I'm not sure how
Yeah.
much a difference it makes.
I mean, I don't, if I recall, I don't think I've ran into, I don't know, because I do remember some shenanigans on Woods, but not at the letter spot specifically. But
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I kind of like early wipe Woods because it's a lot less like snipery. It's kind of like how you describe customs, like you move from bush to bush and then like all of a sudden someone's in your face. It's basically like Woods. Like some people will bring out that sniper, the USEC one with the freaking scope on it. The scope that like can see into the future. It zooms in so much. I never, dude. I'll just like vendor that shit immediately. But some people bring it in, but I much prefer just like M4, AK, whatever faction, and
Yeah.
red dot of some sort. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, I
No,
don't know.
I
I
know what
mean, it
I
makes
know what you
sense
mean.
what you're saying that you would run in. You would think if other people are also doing this, then the hotspot's going to be the Jaeger letter, so it makes sense. But
Yeah, I'm not really sure. The only thing that I'm not sure about yet is apparently. So I've only heard this from other people. If you reset your account right now, ever since the traders got put back in after Lightkeeper, everyone has been able to access Jaeger, even if you reset your account and you're at level 1.
huh,
You don't have any tasks with him. You still have to complete acquaintance at level 2, but you can
interesting.
buy from level 1. So in theory, if that stays, like no one knows whether that's going to persist yet. So if
Hmm.
that stays, you don't have to do acquaintance first. You can already buy the 133s, but you won't be able to do any tasks with them. So you'll still have to go and get the letter. So maybe that will make it a little bit different. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I
That'd
don't
be
know whether that'll
interesting
change it.
because
Yeah,
doesn't he sell double barrels at level 1?
I think you might.
So
Yeah,
you got your cheapo kit, man. That's the kind of thing. Like I think Skier sells. Does he? I think he sells a shotgun at level 1. Is it the Remington pump
I'm gonna have to look it up.
or is it like a barter for a Sega shotgun?
Let
Well,
me let me look because it's actually.
there's
Mhm.
like not a lot of good shotgun options
There's a
until you unlock
153
Jaeger.
barter, but I think that's the keys, and you're not going to
Yeah,
get those 3 keys. They're cheap keys, but you're never going to get those keys.
right.
Because it's like the car key, the Shoyorostrov's key, and the Yumota
Hmm.
key or something. But you need to get those 3 to do the 153. You're probably not going to bother doing that. And then the Toz is the other one from him.
Yeah. So like early wipe your shotgun from the traders is like Taz, and I guess that's kind of it. I don't think
Yeah,
anyone
unless
has
you're doing
any
that
other
barter, which,
shotgun.
as I said, is unlikely.
Yeah,
Whereas Jaeger, on the other hand, has got like it doesn't actually tell you on here which ones unlock through quests. So sometimes that can trip you up. But anyway,
sure.
you have the double barrel for 8,820. You have the revolver shotty for 21k. I think the revolver
Oh,
shotty actually is going to be really strong. I
yeah.
think it's going to be really good. And you have the 133 for 24k. And yeah, the 590A1 for 31k. The pump one. So there's a few. And also the toss on him as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think shotguns are going to be quite strong.
I know.
I
I'm
think that's
kind
going to
of
be quite
thinking
strong.
about running shotgun early wipe just for fun.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's going to be
tempting.
fun. I'm so torn, dude. Honestly, I'm so torn because I feel it's going to be one of those things where like I run an SMG and I
Hmm.
miss every shot and get pistoled in the head. I'm going to run a pistol and then some dude's going to like shotgun me in the head with one blast. Then I'm going to pick up a shotgun and then I'm going to get SMG'd. And it's going to be just like the circle of just like me just
Yeah.
chasing my own tail. I feel like that's how it's going to be. That's kind of how it happened last wipe. I think we talked a little bit about this last time, but about the extreme headshot meta of the early wipe. It's insane because none of the bullets do like any damage. They don't do any pen. Most people are going to be wearing class 3. It's quite hard to bust through class 3. Um, even with, yeah, you have to be using kind of 762 PS.
Mhm.
Most of the bullets don't. Actually, maybe that's a bit unfair. M855 actually is not too bad.
Well,
Um,
before we go too deep down weapons and
yeah.
ammo, I
Let's not
want
talk
to
about too much.
I want to go back because I feel like you were going somewhere with this, with like the progression, early wipe
Yes.
strategy. You were
Yes.
talking about going to Jaeger. What other progression changes slash optimizations do you think is relevant?
Oh yeah. So you mentioned in the brief about these tools, and I did talk about the tools
Hmm.
in my video, but there's not really, like, we don't really know what's going to happen, and so that's why it kind of merits a bit more of a qualitative discussion. There's nothing that you can really pinpoint right now. It really depends. Like, it's easy to forget when you're at the end of the wipe how scarce and annoying some of these items were. Like, we went through the
Yes.
whole wave of items last time, right? It was just like the gas analyzers thing, the
God.
USB drives, like always. Right, gas analyzers were notorious this time as well because they changed some of the spawns and they ended up being in like the customs gas station and random places on reserve and things like this. Because I think did they take them out of the filing cabinets? I think.
Yeah, they took him out of filing
Um,
cabinets.
so loads of people were just like, I can't find them. And I think I found one, crafted one, and then found another. Because you can craft them at level 1 workbench. But then we had like hunting matches, which was like locking out like
Yes.
heating or something for a while. There's like the military tubes later on, which was like
Right.
blockers for ages. You had those car manuals for the library. You needed
Yeah.
5 or something. They added that, and then the prices shot through the roof. You had like the green batteries
Green
as well. So
battery.
there's actually like a ton of different items. Like it's very easy to forget now how annoying those things are. Back then when you're kind of, and this is why in the early wipe's fun, is you're trying to piece together your kits and say, okay, well, how much can I get away with? But I want to spend 300k on
Hmm.
5 green batteries or
Oh,
something.
drills? Weren't
Um,
drills really rare too? Electric drills, the blue
maybe
ones?
drills were really rare. That didn't actually matter for non-standard because you don't need it to upgrade Stash 2 because
Hmm.
you don't actually have to do that upgrade if you have EOD. So I remember people scrambling around for drills and I was thinking, oh God, am I going to have to look for drills? And then I remember looking at it and going, oh, it's for Stash 2, which is really important for standard account
Right.
players. It's a big upgrade, right? Because I think it blocks something and I can't remember. Is it Intel or something? I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
actually
until
forget now.
two.
And so you need it for that. But if you have EOD, then you don't need it because you've got Stash Force right from the offset, which is actually an enormous advantage.
Hmm.
Not just the stash space, but just like not having to pay for Stash 2 is actually a big deal. I remember you talking to me about it. I don't think it was even this wipe. I think it was the wipe before, about how you end up spending 12 mil or something on Stash 2, and it's like
Yeah.
ridiculous if you add all the items up because everything's so expensive early, as well as the rubles.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we'll see. So we've got all of these items to come already. Then we have these tools. We
Yeah.
have the tools that are, some of them are critical for certain crafts. So I was looking through. It's kind of difficult. So there's like tons of different crafts we might do. Some of them are for um, things like the one that I was focusing on my kind of like short guide was the 60 rounders because you need the long flat screwdriver
All right.
and it's an infinite use. So you can make all 3 because now rather than it being consumed, it's actually technically better. So if they left the spawn rates as they are now, it will be easier than it was because you don't have to find 3 or buy 2 more. You just have the 1 forever. But I have a feeling that they wouldn't have put that change through if they weren't intending to fiddle with the spawn rates on these kind of items because now
What
they're
I
like
would
infinite
think.
use. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know whether people are going to be scrambling around trying to find those because you're going to need sewing kits to make the black rocks, to make the pilgrims if you can't find them in raid. Because black rocks are actually kind of annoying. The pilgrims you can do just by running scav a million times, but you don't get black rocks on scav anymore because you used to, but now you don't. And so crafting that in the lavatory is going to be kind of important, along with the long flat screwdriver. And there's like a ton of these, right? There's like the pliers. There's so many
Yeah.
different things. And you're going to be kind of forced into this awkward spots, I think, in certain cases where you have the early game winner rigs like the MMAC and the Strandhog, where I mean, especially the MMAC because it's Ragman 2, where you're thinking, okay, I need the sewing kit. I have to hand it in if I want to barter it for the MMAC, but they're really rare.
Yeah.
So it might just
Well,
completely kill the MMAC rig, right? You might just not ever want to do that until a bit later. Or unless you've got spare. It depends because you probably want to sell it on the flea then. But whether you can buy the stuff on the flea or not, whether the money's worth it is the thing. It's just like, well, am I going to buy rat rigs with the money? I don't know.
but this is what I like about the change because the way it affects all the other systems is, as you just perfectly described, there's so many interesting different routes to go. Like, do I use it in the hideout craft? Do I use it in the barter? Do I sell on the market? If if they're going to be rare, then it's like going to make all of those decisions much harder. But maybe you really value that rig in the next raid you go into. I don't know. I like it. I hope that they are a bit more rare, not like green battery rare. Like I was convinced that the only green batteries that were on the flea market were the one people got from quest rewards that were selling them. Because I don't know where else you would find them. Like as an interchange player, I could not find any green batteries, dude, on interchange. They just simply did not exist. I could find drills, not vertexes, or is it vertexes? I don't know. One of the computer technology things that they added that used to not spawn
like
there.
VPX.
Yeah,
or whatever,
VPX.
like
Thank
one
you.
of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
ones.
yeah. Military cables, Tetrises, whatever. But see, some people kept saying customs. Like I heard, like customs the bed on first floor. Sorry, the couch on first floor. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't like these new spawns. I'm like my old uh shelves, filing cabinets that had like gas analyzer spawns, green battery spawns. It's just like very like cookie cutter. I don't like these open world spawns. It's like this one obscure location has like a 5% chance to spawn a $3 million value item. You have to check it every now and then. It's so annoying, dude. But that's
Free
just my
dynamic loot, Tarkov boomers.
exactly, dude. I like the simpler ways. You just open up a crate, you just roll the dice, and maybe you get it. Not like checking like these little corners and things. It's like God, I gotta watch so many videos, so many different shoreline videos just to figure out where all these new spawns are at. Anyways, sorry,
Yeah,
ran
exactly.
over.
It's very community kind of driven, which is sort of what they want. They want people to be
Hmm.
finding these spots and sharing them and that kind of thing. And it's very much then a knowledge. It's just a learning game, actually, a lot of it.
Yeah,
Rather than being like, oh, you can hit any filing cabinets. You go and look at the map and you make yourself a route. It's like this spot here. It has to be. It's on the table in gas station on customs. I mean, because I can't remember where I found the first one. I think my gas analyzers might have been the first one in a box, and then as I said, I crafted the second one, and the third one I was messing around on reserve, and it was in kind of I don't really know how you describe it, but if you're, when you're looking down from the dome and you've got the fuel tanks like directly in front of you,
yeah,
it's like they're like the first thing down, and then just on from that, there's that other. I can't remember what the name of that building is. It's kind of like a little hangar almost, like a vehicle
like a
repair workshop or
like a
something.
shed type, really big shed.
Yeah, yeah, it's like at the back of
Black
the
Knight.
King or something. I can't remember. I'm so bad at the reserve ones. I've said this before because I play solo. I know where all the stuff is when I'm playing on my own, but because I never have to call out to anybody. I can't remember what the names of the buildings are, which is quite funny. Chat saying we call it headquarters. Okay, fair enough. So it was just in there on one of the boxes. That was where the last gas analyzer was. Just like, here it is, the one that I'm looking for. I think I was still mid craft for number 2, so I was like, okay, well I got this one. When that one finishes, I'll just hand it in. It's quite an expensive craft, but yeah, dude, I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah,
And that was kind of the advice in my video as well. It's just like we just don't know what the spawn rate's going to be like for these things, and these things like long flat screwdrivers or whatever. They might just disappear from the loot table and be in really awkward spots, or be on only shelves in the back of
yeah,
Ollie, or like be missing out of the technical crates or whatever. Or they might just leave them exactly the same, and then it'll be just really easy. Maybe they never intended it to be a pinch point. I don't know, but we will have to see. I'm interested to see about that, because one fascinating part about it, which is going to make the squad players really even more, is that because they're barter items, if you find 2, if you weren't in the same group as your friend, you actually can't give them to each other either, because you can't drop them anymore, because they'll just disappear. And I don't think there's any.
right.
Did they
Well,
do any
during the raid,
exemptions? Yes, you have to be in the same raid as
right,
your friend when
right,
they find it. Otherwise, they can't share it with you if they have
yeah.
to, because it'll lose its finding raid status. You'll end up in the next raid and you'll try to discard it, and they'll say, I'm sorry, this is a barter item without finding raid, and you'll be deleted. I don't think that there's a one item discard limit. There probably should be, but I don't think there's a one item discard limit for like random things like the long flat screwdriver. I don't think so. I could be wrong, and maybe they did add it in one of the changes, because I know they fiddle around with it a lot, and
I
now I
have no
can't remember
clue,
what's what.
but I'm just thinking it's probably a good change because you could easily have an RMT package, just like the hideout package, and it's all the
That's true.
single items you need for like the crafts that you get
Yeah,
them
the
back.
sewing kit, the long flat
Yeah,
screwdriver, the pliers, da, da,
right.
da, 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 da. Yeah, exactly. Although in some you don't, in some crafts you don't, and if you use them for
Sure.
barters you don't. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
To be fair, I could probably go and test that actually. Just go into an offline raid with one and just see if you can throw it on the floor. I think the answer is no, but
That's what I'm
I haven't
thinking
actually
as
tested it
well.
myself. But you could actually check really easily. I could check really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could check really easily, but I haven't done that. So I think that's gonna be interesting for progression. I mean, the other thing that I spoke about in the video a bit was about keys. Like, I find keys really annoying. As a solo, it's like they're a real pain because even now, even after the changes, yes, you can't drop keys for other people. If you're questing with your squad and someone, like one person has the customs office key, say, and they die because you want to do all the quests together, like you still can't go and do it, right? And that's how it used to be before. It's just now if they go and finish it separately, they can come back. They used to be able to come back and give you the key. Now they can't because it'll disappear. So they have to go back with you and they still have to stay alive. But I guess you can sort of be on guard duty or whatever. But as a solo, it's still a complete pain because you're on your own with your own RNG trying to find these things. Like if you're in a squad of like 5 people, the likelihood of one of you finding it is it's just 5 times higher if you're all doing this similar loot runs. And so in a distribution, someone's going to find the 206, someone's going to find 303, someone's going to find customs office key, etc., etc. And there's a few of these like the annoying pinch point, because I actually got burnt by this last wipe, which is why it was so stuck in my mind, is that there are barters that you can do for a lot of these, which they actually added at the beginning of 12.12.
Yeah.
You didn't have 206 barter to begin with. You didn't have customs office key barter, which now you do. I guess I'll touch on them now just in case people didn't see it or forgot. But like 206 you can get for 7 pile of meds, which is not that hard to find. You know, they're in lots of boxes. And then the customs office key one is 3 different sets of food items. Is like 2 of the green teas, 2 squashes, and then 4 crackers. I remember when I did this, and I did it with that barter because I just could not find customs office key. And this is, you know, none of my IRL friends have played 12.12. And so, because I've had people come back and play other wipes like previously, even after doing content creation and that kind of thing. This wipe, no one played. So I was like, okay, I'm not finding this key. I've been doing jacket runs for days. And I just cannot find this thing. So I did the barter in the end. I managed to find all the items except the crackers. I got to 3 out of 4 crackers before realizing that therapist sells them at level 1. And it was honestly heartbreaking. It was genuinely heartbreaking, dude. I found 3 of them and I was like, I just need one more cracker and I could do it. And I was like, I could have literally bought all 4 all along. Like I had the other items for ages. I had them for like 2 days or something. And I just needed these crackers, but not realizing that she sold them at level 1. You can just literally buy them and hand them back into her because for the bars, it doesn't need to be fine in raid. So it actually cuts down the requirement quite a bit. You just need the 2 teas and the 2 squashes. You can just buy all the crackers. Yeah, it's 15k or something, which is a bit of a pain each one. But the money, yeah, the money comes and goes. And actually, that reminds me of. Just quickly reminds me of like a comment I had on. There was somebody like posted on one of my videos like relatively recently, and they were like, "Oh, you know, why would I trust the advice of the guy with 50k rubles?" And I was like, "Dude, you know, this video was posted like a day and a half into the wipe." And they were like, "Yeah, you start with 500k though, no?" And I was like, "You're missing the point so hard, my friend. Like, you're missing the point so hard. Like, the money doesn't matter early. You can't buy anything. You're not on the fleet. You can't buy it. Like, I just couldn't even bother to argue. I was just like, whatever."
That's the best approach.
What were you going to say? I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was going to say in regards to the director keys barter, it's all food items. Woods is going to be really good for that.
Yeah. I was thinking Goshan, but actually Woods is also really good for that
Goshan's also really good. Dude, Goshan's crazy, bro. I have a buddy when I was still playing Tarkov, we would do interchange runs. He'd be like, "Yo, I'm gonna hit my rat route." Like, where you at? Big nose, where you at? He's like, "I'm in Goshen. Look at all this food, man. This is 10k a slot. This is 10k a slot." Oh my god, dude. It's hilarious. Anyways.
Goshen's good. It's good for that stuff. So I was like, yeah, Goshen. But yeah, Woods is also good too because you get that alongside other stuff. You're not just kind of like hardcore focusing on the food. I can imagine the people just swarming in onto Goshen as well because you need like, I didn't actually talk about this. You need the Iskras as well. There's like, there's so much. I was like trying to pick what to put in the video because there's so many things that you might need. There's like, you need the Iskra lunch boxes. You need, eventually you need to find like the small Tushonka cans. Like there's so many bits. The croutons. Dude, the croutons actually nearly crucified me last time. Again, Goshan saved my life on that one too. It took me forever to find them, and I did a couple of runs scav on Goshan and found them there. But my god, like some of the finding raid stuff you need for early Jager and some of the early guys is just like really, really painful. So there's those. But then so last time I got burnt because of this. Like I did find 206 in the end. I bartered for the customs office key, And then I got to the freaking bunkhouse key, man. Honestly, and there's no barters for it. There's no fixed spawns for it. You just have to hunt the jackets. It sucks. It
Which
absolutely
bunkhouse is that?
sucks. This is the one where you have to pick up the package, and in it's in
Construction?
like skeleton. Yeah, it's construction
Yeah, yeah,
skeleton, that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And you go up the stairs into that little thing. You grab the dude. It's the one that you can snipe from the top with the mounted machine gun in like the elbow section. And you can like I had a friend who wandered up, tried to unlock the door with the key, and just got one tapped from the guy who was like camping skeleton because we were quite late. I was
Oh,
helping
you
him
can
complete some
oh,
quests later
from
on.
Alamo you can shoot
It's
into
it's well no it's not from there. It's from the like the top of the if you're coming through Elbow, there's like the into like regular construction before like the old construction area, and you
Mhm.
got the mounted MG that looks over the bridge. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, in old construction. And if you're looking the other way, you
right.
can just see that staircase perfectly. So you can
Oh,
just lie
okay.
down on that
I
thing.
got
So you can see
confused,
up
yeah.
into you can see up into like the new skeleton building, and
Mhm.
then up those stairs. And as soon as the guy goes up the stairs, because we were quite far along, so people were doing shooterborn in heaven at that point, and it's like one of the only places. Oh, chat's saying Fortress can also shoot it. Okay, fine. I've not actually looked at that angle particular, but yeah, I think it's like one of the only places because there's not that many places that are 100 meters, and the dude is just like
Oh
up there
man.
lying down, and my friend went up like toddled up the stairs. Here we go, open the door and just crack M80 straight through the side of the head, which is quite
That's
funny.
rough.
Obviously, that doesn't happen early on because no one's doing shooterborn, but yeah, it's that one. But there's no other way to get the key. No other way to get the key. You
Yeah,
just have to grind the jackets, and that I find that really painful. I end up
I
normally doing that one when I hit the flea, and I just buy it if I don't find it
I
because I just find
just
doing jacket runs not that efficient.
well, I don't like the key system, man. I really think it's just a big shortcoming. I mean, we won't get too deep into it. I like to talk about it another time, but it's just like, dude, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of fun hitting jackets, and then you might pull that really rare key or whatever. But it's also like, I don't know. This is why like getting a docs case or a key tool or anything you can stack multiple keys in is so valuable because you can
Yeah,
literally go shoreline naked with a key tool or whatever you like, and just hit every single freaking jacket and just put every single key in there, and all you're doing is just playing a time and lottery game. You just
yeah,
might pull the right one, and that's the other boring thing is like anytime you find a good key, where's it going? It's always going in your container. Like it's just not. I don't know. It's such a. It's basically a time grind through RNG, and it's just like I don't really think that's a lot of fun, dude. What's
yeah,
it's probably the most frustrating thing, especially now with all these RMT changes, early wipe. I can tell you right now, no, with my buddies, no one, not a lot of them are gonna want to be like, okay, I guess I won't progress. I'll go help you progress. Even it's just like because you can't. Used to be you just give them the key, right? Be like, oh yeah, you couldn't play at the very first hour of the wipe. You got on a late start. Here, I'll give you the keys. I don't need them anymore. Now it's like I guess I just won't do the quests and come help you do your quests. I'll just halt my progression. I don't know. It just that ugh,
yeah.
it
It
feels
feels
really bad for
it
a
feels bad.
squad. You know.
And this is the thing. Like I don't have anything against RNG grinding in
Hmm.
some sense. Like things like grinding bosses in a way is probably better. I actually get annoyed. Is a bit off topic, but Richard with his like golden pistol and stuff. Like some things like that are, especially if they're like quest lock type things, that it's a bit of a pain. But I don't like the jackets ones because, especially if you do, yeah, as you say, like shoreline or whatever, it's just not interesting. They're like not really located. You tend to do like the village in like a swamp area and those kind of places, and it's just not an interesting run really. You just, as you say, you're just grinding time. You just go and eventually you'll
Well,
find something valuable.
it's worse because you're just tapping F a bunch of times. Like I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything
You're not
interesting.
like
You know
trying
what
to
I
skill a
mean?
boss. You're not like trying to find a boss and maybe find PvP or whatever.
Yeah,
Like then you have to kill the boss and you have to strategize for that. None of that. It's just tapping F on jackets. Like it's not an interesting game
it's
mechanic. It sucks.
really
It really
boring.
sucks. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do about that this way. We're gonna have to see. Like maybe there's some changes. I'll see. I can't imagine that those quests are going to change. I think it's very unlikely that the main quests are going to change. They said they're going to add some new quests. I think it'll be quest for Lighthouse, maybe some more end game quests, things between
Yeah,
45 and 60, that kind of thing. I can't imagine that the main prep or quest line to Punisher is going to be any different. Personally, I don't think it'll be any different. I don't know
That's
what
hard
your
to
thoughts are,
say.
but
I never know if BSG, sometimes they come out with just swinging wide, man. Just like, where did out of left field, like, where did that change come from? So I
they
don't know.
do, they do. But my personal feelings on it is that the way that Nikita has spoken before about 1.0 and the actual storyline, I
Hmm.
think that's when we'll see a big deviation. I feel like they're still in kind of like game mechanics, maps, and other stuff mode rather than like redoing the whole quest system. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they've got the whole system in place now from daily quests to do more dynamic stuff. Like they could change it up and so that rather than needing to get 5 Salewas, different players need different things and whatever. But I just feel like it's unlikely in this particular patch. Like maybe
Yeah.
with streets or something. I just don't think this. I
No,
don't think
I
this
could
patch is
agree.
one where the quest system is going to be targeted. It doesn't feel like that to me. I could be completely wrong, but I'm fully expecting to do planting the markers on all the tanks. I'm
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
expecting to do that
The
classic path
linear,
line.
yep, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
While
I mean,
we're
talk. Oh, gone. Yeah, go, go,
while
go.
we're still on keys, quickly, do you think they'll change the durability count from 100 to something else, or do you think it's going to stay the same? Do you even think it
That's
needs to be
tough.
changed?
To be honest, no for most of them,
Hmm.
but some of them probably. I think that it would be good to change some of the more higher value ones to a lower number, but have the spawn rate be higher. Things like customs dorm,
I was going to
the
say,
dorms marked room,
you
for
don't want them to go
example.
too low because then you don't have to go back to hitting a bunch of jackets, do you?
Well,
I don't blame you.
if it's one time for the quest, I don't care. I actually don't really do
Yeah, that's
loot
true.
runs with keys, right? Like, and this is well known.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
I
hide
forgot
this
about that.
fact. So yeah, so for me, I would actually like a single use with loads of them. For me, that would be great because then
Mm,
I'm going to have like a really high chance of finding the one that I need for the quest, and I'm going to hit Dorm's marked room once, and that's it. I'm never going to touch it for the rest of the wipe. Like
I see.
this wipe, I've been in that room one time,
Hmm.
literally one time, and that was after I lay down for 25 minutes on night customs and wandered in after someone else had opened it. It was the only time I've been in customs Dorm's Mark room at all in 12.12. I've literally not stepped foot in that room otherwise. Amazing, eh? And to be fair, it was only about a month ago that I actually got the key. But it sat in my stash still with Finding Raid on it.
See,
I haven't used it at all.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about that system you described. If there was like the spawn rate was just like cranked all the way up, but they were one use, I feel like I would like that a lot more, personally.
I think there was actually Hailstone in chat was talking about Jesse Kazam's key idea, which actually is along those lines, right? It's about like
Yeah.
having them be like 5 use or something, but then you feel like you want to go to the room, but it's also combined in tandem with cranking up the loot in those rooms. So you
Hmm.
get it and you go, okay, well I've basically got like 2, 3, 4, 5 free passes into like good loot, but then that's it. I think that's broadly the key
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good. I mean, rather than one dude getting customs dorms marked room at the beginning of the wipe with 100 hits on it, and then the loot having to be rubbish to balance it. Like that's also not fun.
Yeah.
His idea is like when you get the key, you know it's going to be juiced, and that's great, but you only get to use it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Good
No,
system, I think.
yeah, I think for sure. I think the other thing I would like, because to me that's like it actually makes it exciting. Like currently now when you find a good key, it's exciting because it's valuable. Like let's say it's RBST. You're kind of like quest locked behind that, if I'm not mistaken, to like progress any other quest past that. You gotta have the RBST key, and the only way to get it is just to hit a bunch of jackets and hit the loot pool. So when you do pull it, it is really exciting, but you basically well, it's like you completed phase one of the quest because it goes in your container. Now you have the key. If you die, you can't sell it, so you lose that option. But you can do the quest now. You can attempt it infinitely, and then you can loot it 1,000 or 100 times. So like, and I would be, I don't know. Maybe you make your money back, maybe you don't. I don't know. But like, what would be even more interesting to me is like the keys were one time use, right? The loot was really good, so it's still really exciting. It's still really valuable. Um, but you can't secure it because I just like for me, that takes away the intensity. And then you could also like, if I killed someone and loot them and they had a key, I can take it. I could take it out and use it later. I could use it now. Like there's just more options instead of just
Yeah.
the fact that let me put in my container. Oh, and then it's like for the next 100 raids, I can always do this thing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
bit
less
that's a bit like a
interesting.
deviation to like more hardcore, a
Mm.
little bit more intensity. So like I can understand if like there's issues with that, but nonetheless, I really keys are going to be so boring, man. You reminded me of how many times like you just have to go dorms, scav or PMC, and you just have to hit all the jackets. If you don't, you're just going to be adding more time to your
Mhm.
quest locking progression. So it's
Exactly. Or you just wait till you get the flea market and then just pay an extortionate price early, which I've done before. This is actually like maybe this is like 3 wipes
it's
ago
true.
when I bought customs office key for my group.
Yeah.
That was back when the flea was quite low, I think, and I just ground the money up and bought it, and it was like 400k or something. And I just ground the money and bought it for everybody, and
Now that you
that was
say
that.
that, I think that's what I do. Is I just get the money and just buy it
Yeah, I have
because
to do that with
looting
loads
jackets
of
is
shoreline
not
keys.
fun. Yeah,
No,
it's
and the
just
thing is, I'm just like, I would rather run other routes. And this is the thing, right? It's like, it depends on the convertibility of this stuff.
yeah.
It's like, well, if I can convert rubles into keys, I don't need to do the key run because I don't think the key run is the most profitable run. So I'll do another run and I'll take the money from that to buy the key from someone else who's doing the key run because I think their run's less profitable than my run. So I'll do the run that I want because I can convert scav backpacks and scav vests and
Yeah.
MP155 shotguns
Right.
into keys um,
Yeah.
via the flea. So that's what I end up doing. So with it being bunkhouse key is the one that is annoying for me. It's a little bit further along. It's not too bad. You can only get Punisher when you're level 17 anyway. So I think it's 17, if I remember off the top of my head. Which means that you will be at 15 and you can complete those quests in kind of rapid succession if you need to. But there's a way of getting through some of the early progression because a lot of it's about getting the XP, right? That's really what it's
That's for the
about.
big thing. Yeah.
It's annoying to not be able to complete the next set of quests because you want the XP from the quest. And the reason why you want the XP from the quest is you want to get to level 15 because once you get to level 15, you can go and buy the keys to go and do all the annoying quests. So I end up doing that on Shoreline, buying the keys to go and get all of the skier's junk that he wants me to get every single wipe. I hate Lend-Lease because it takes me to Interchange and Shoreline Resort, which is like 2 areas that I don't really like. And I have to go and pay 500k for a key because they're super rare. And I have to go into the West Wing, which scares me. And then sit around Interchange, which also scares me. And go into like Emicom Medical, which is terrifying. The regular Emicom room. So that's just, yeah, it's just bad. But anyway, we just deal with it. We just deal with it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say before is
Uh-huh.
I feel that almost sort of neatly moves into maybe a bit more of like a macro view of the quest system
Okay.
in terms of what do you think is the best like route through, because
Oh
there's kind of some
my.
different paths you can take. And broadly, let me phrase or frame my thoughts first,
Okay.
just to try and make it simple. And I'm probably missing out some routes, but the way that I've tended to progress across the various different wipes, earlier on, it was always, and especially when standard, it was always down the Prapor route as fast as possible to get through Punisher, finish Punisher
Right.
6,
For
and grab
sure.
my Epsilon, right?
Yeah.
That was always the main goal. After having EOD, yeah, you can still do that. That's fine. But the way that I've done it a couple of wipes is going through Skier, get the flash drives through Peacekeeper and pushing Peacekeeper really hard. Because if
Yeah.
you're progressing on the basis of gear rather than just on like quests and getting the secure container, Peacekeeper honestly has some of the best stuff
It's
as
very
you're
true.
progressing through. Like it's actually nuts. If you can get through and complete the cult part 1 and unlock 56A1 early, dude, it absolutely annihilates people. And the fact that the MDR 556, and I know 556 everyone hates it, but I think until you get into the later wipe stages and people using class 5, I actually think it's still pretty good mid wipe because it just destroys people. And you can still use the MDR and you can still use the Scar L. And both of those hardly need any mods to be decent. And the problem is early game, level 2 and 3 trade, or level 2 traders in particular, you can't really buy anything to make some of the guns good, right? The guns that need the mods, you can't buy the guns to make the mods work well. And so the guns that end up working nicely in the mid game tend to be those like MDRs because they are good out the box. You can't buy them straight away because you don't have the flea market, but you don't really need to modify them too much. So like in short, what I've done previously is go through Skier. If you can get the USB flash drives, the 3 flash drives, then you're well under your way. That's normally the big pinch point. Is those 3
Yeah.
USBs? You give them to Skier. Was it 2? I can't remember. Is it 2 or 3?
Oh, we can find out.
Yeah. So you go do that anyway. If you manage to, I think it's 3. If you get those early, then you can go down Peacekeeper's thing. You then get the SV98. Go and take that. You put that down. You do a load of his other quests. You get through to the cult part 1 or 2. You get M856A1, and you can just start slaying people with like the MDR on like any of the 5.56 weapons. And then if you can push through to Peacekeeper 3, then you can buy the P90 and the P90 ammo, and then you're tearing people. SS190 is like the mid game destroyer, and the P90s this wipe were actually really expensive. I think there's quite a few people doing that because of the lack of class 5 so early. P90 just wrecked for ages, but a lot of people don't have access to that ammo. So if you can get there early enough, the P90s are kind of cheap. And they're not that much, and you don't need to mod them either, right? So if you can pick up P90s for like 60k, you don't really need to put anything on them. The only issue is that it's a bit tricky to put some sights on them until you get to a certain level with mechanic. That's kind of the problem. I think you need mechanic 3 before you can get like the nice top, which is problematic. But anyway, there's like go Peacekeeper 2 and 3 with 56A1, then into some of the other ammos that he has. Like it can be really, really good. I've really enjoyed the Peacekeeper route. But I was wondering if there's like some other routes that are also useful. Those are really the 2 that I've focused on, I would say.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of leaning Peacekeeper because this wipe I got, I guess I just bought M80 early on. Because you remember 1212 M80 was like the ammo to run. I mean, the SR25 was just really good. And then the M80 is just a really good ammo early on. And man, I bought so much. I would just like log on just to buy M80. It was crazy. So I don't know. It's like I kind of hearing you talk about it. I mean, I'm not like too crazy about 5.6A1, but getting the P90 is pretty nice. You only got to be level 23, and then you need 0.30 rep, which I don't know. I mean, I like to stack all the shoreline quests together, as many as possible.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I try to do, but I'm not really sure what other routes you could do because it's kind of the point of doing a particular, like prioritizing a particular set of quests is to build up a rep for a certain trader to get the unlock.
Yeah.
Like I used to really like Prapper because you would get the level 2 Prapper, which would give you the AK butt pads.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like, I mean, they used to sell out all the time, and they would be like on the flea market for like crazy amount of price. But this wipe, the butt pads just kind of felt like they didn't do much. I really think this wipe was just the M80, the NATO guns were just the way to go because the recoil changes. Yeah. But nonetheless, I like that route. I like doing Prapper because obviously a standard account player for quite a few wipes doing the Epsilon Rush made a lot of sense to me. I don't even know what else makes like Skier kind of has crap, honestly. When he had the Vector when that first came out, that was like, dude, everyone was progressing Skier. Because I think it was like level 2 Skier, he had the 9mm Vector. Now it's level 3, or is it level 4?
I think it's level. God, I can't remember now.
Level 4.
Is it level 4 now?
The 9mm Vector is level 4. Holy heck, dude.
I really hope we see some 9mm changes. I really do.
I really hope so too, man. I miss my MP5 SD. I miss the Sega, dude. The PP19 rather. I miss 9mm so much.
Yeah. As Chad's saying, Skier sells the RFB. You do need him level 2 if you want to do that. Okay. So the RFB is like the early wipe king.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's so good. The combo of Peacekeeper 2.
Doing that, you pretty much have a path towards Peacekeeper. Mm-hmm. So like you might as well do Peacekeeper as well. Sorry, I cut you off
Well, I
there.
mean, kind of, I guess, because you can do. I can't remember how early you can get gear 2, but I think it's quite early because you have to do so many quests. You have to do supplier, extortionist, what's on the flash drive, golden swag, which may get you there anyway, and then you can start doing some of the chemical ones if you don't have like friend from the west yet. So you can probably get him to level 2 quite early, and then peacekeeper, you also
you
can get him to level 2
early.
just by cash. You don't even need trader rep, so you don't need to unlock him. You can get to level 2 just with spending money, which is like kind of annoying. But yeah, there's another comment about rushing 762 BP, which is actually another tick in the box for the Prapple route because you have to complete Punisher 5. So if you want 762 BP without crafting it in the hideout, which is workbench 3, which is pretty high level. Workbench 3 takes you a while, right? You need gear 3 for work. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Workbench 3 requires level 2 generator, the level 2 stash. That's where that comes in. You need mechanic 3. Okay, so you need at least to be level 30. So that's big, right? That's actually pretty big. Punisher Part 5, like what's the level requirement on Punisher Part 5? Level 20. So you technically can smash through Punisher if you can get through relatively early on. I mean, I think it's unlikely you'll be doing it on level 20, I think. Maybe. I don't know. But then that also reminds me, I'd said this in my guide on the video, save the PM pistols. Save the PM pistols. Do not save the PMT. Save the PM pistols. You need 2. I not last wipe, but sorry, not this wipe, but last wipe. I saved 1, and I forgot that it was 2, and I then spent 3 hours grinding scavs for the second PM, and I was like, oh, I found the PMT, hooray! And then I went and it's like, nope, the thread doesn't count. Prapple says, out you go, my boy, back out onto the mean streets of Tarkov. I want the one without the thread on it. I don't want the better one. Who would want the better PM? So that's that's kind of irritating.
What?
But yeah, so the 762 thing, maybe another route for the path.
Yeah, that seems pretty good because you only need level 26, I think. And you just gotta have the rep. That seems actually pretty good. What is it Jager 3 that you unlock Flechettes, or is it Jager 4?
I don't think it's Jager 4.
It's gotta be 3 then.
Yeah, let's have a quick look. I think it must be 3. Can you craft them quite early? It's Jager 3. Yeah, it's Jager 3. You can craft them at workbench 2.
That's not too bad.
And you need mechanic 2, so that's level 20.
Oh wow, that's earlier than the quest.
You need level 2 illumination. You need level 1 generator, but you'll have that. Okay, so you can do that quite early on. That's not actually too bad.
I might do the shotgun route just for memes. Just level up Jager.
Flechettes, like,
yeah, just for the memes, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good. I'm torn actually. So there was an interesting thing. I kind of like touched over it because I didn't want to go into it in too much detail. Which was about the various shotgun shells, which I did not realize this until I looked because I never really had any reason to before. But like obviously Magnum is the most damage, right? Clearly it does 50, right? So even with like drop off in damage, you're still going to be one-tapping people, but the recoil is enormous. So then out of all the other ones, and you don't even have Magnum to begin with, you can't get that at the start. Because I remember last time, this is why I started looking into it, because Express was just out of stock constantly. But the problem with Express is it does 35 damage.
Yeah.
So as soon as it leaves the barrel, it's ticking down 34, 33, 32, 31. So even if they're 1 meter away, you won't headshot them if you hit them with just 1 pellet. I mean, how likely that is, I don't know, but it's just one of those things. It's you're probably going to hit them with 2 if you're kind of anywhere with the reticle in there, but there's a chance that you only hit them with 1. They are kind of random after all. But what interested me was that I was thinking about these other ones and thinking, well, is Express even really worth it? Like, does the 8 to 9 actually matter? Who really cares? The regular one that you use otherwise is the 7mm buckshot normally because it's 8 by 39. And then there's another buckshot, which is the 5.25mm buckshot, which is 8 by 37. And so you'd almost always be like, well, there's no difference between 7mm buckshot and 5.25mm buckshot. There's no stats difference. There's no difference in bleed chance. The penetration is just worse on the 5.25, and the damage is also worse. So why would you ever use it? But the one thing that I found out in my studies is the difference, which I had not accounted for, was the fact that the the bullet velocity, or the sort of pellet velocity, I should say, on the 5.25 mil buckshot, despite being worse in pretty much every single way, is 330 meters per second. So that makes it subsonic. It's on the borderline, to be fair. That like is the speed of sound in air at like regular pressure. Whereas 7 mil buckshot is 415 meters per second. Well, does that really make a difference? Who really cares? Well, the important point is because they both use the same ballistic formula, the faster round, because it's exponential, the faster round slows down faster than the slower round, right? Because there's more air resistance if you're traveling faster. And if you've got the same ballistic properties, then the faster round will slow down quicker. Why does this matter? Well, it's because the damage in Tarkov and the pen, but in this case, it's only the damage that matters, is tied in a linear way with the velocity of the round and the slowdown. So if the kind of like for every, it's not 1-to-1. So that was the issue when 1212 first came out, is that it was 1-to-1. So say you went from the starting velocity down half, the damage also went down half. It's now not the same. That's not how it works now. There's like a fixed parameter on each one, because I did some like testing on it like really early on. There's like this fixed parameter. It doesn't really matter. Like who cares? You can just look up the range tables and it tells you. But what that means is that because the fast round loses its velocity way faster, it means that 7 mil buckshot actually loses its damage way quicker than 5.25 buckshot, because IRL, you would imagine that getting shot with a 7 mil buckshot round at the speed at which 5.25 comes out of the shotgun, it probably would hurt just the same, or if not more, because they're bigger. But in Tarkov, because of the way that the formula is done, because the slowdown is more extreme, even though 7 mil buckshot starts off with 37 and 39. No, 39. And 5 mil buckshot starts with 37. 5 mil buckshot will still deal 35 damage per pellet at 10 meters, whereas 7 mil buckshot will not. 7 mil buckshot loses its damage down below 35 within like a meter or something. Like you won't even head tap somebody with one of the pellets at 5 meters. At 5 meters, it's kind of a moot point, right? But like at 10 meters, like yeah, maybe you could hit somebody with one pellet. I don't know. So I'm thinking like maybe 5.25 is better. I think it's all like very borderline. But
10 meters, I'm guessing like 15 meters, it drops below the 5.
10 meters it's a nothing done anyway. It all drops below.
Yeah, for me it's a little too low, because like what made Express so appealing back in the day is at any distance you could catch them with one pellet and kill them, right?
Yeah.
So I used to do meme Sega shotguns and just like load up with Express and just shoot people across the map, hoping
it
for
was
the
super
RNG.
speedy.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's if the damage was like less pronounced, the fall off, then maybe. But like for me, 10 meters, it's kind of a moot point for me, anyways.
Yeah, because if you're hitting someone in the head at 10 meters, like you're probably gonna catch them with two.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be
Maybe.
fair, if you were off target at 10 meters, maybe, but
Yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know. It's weird.
it's very borderline.
Yeah.
Anyway, so suffice to say, last time Express Buckshot was sold out continuously. I think probably needlessly. You can really use any of them. I think is more
That's
of the takeaway.
kind of what I feel like now. It's
Yeah,
like any of them
don't be
good.
so worried. Exactly, don't be so worried if you don't get Express. Just don't worry about it, and just use any of them, even the regular 7 mil or the 5.25. But like whatever you can get your hands on and whatever you're using, it doesn't matter. Magnum will still absolutely crack people out because it's just 400 potential damage, right? It's just like it's way and above the others. 8x50 is a lot more than 8x39 and 8x37, which if you're not hitting them in the head and they are armored and you're shooting them in the legs, can make a big difference, or in the arms or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll really destroy them. Plus, it also has like the bleed chance multipliers as well and things like that. So I don't know, but dude, yeah, I'm not sure. Like I'm still thinking about shotguns, but I'm not sure, because shotguns were so good mid-wipe, because so many people migrated away from using the rat rig, which was thorax and stomach, because it was more expensive because the MMAC was so cheap, because you only need, like, no one was really like using Kadura for anything else. Because I think, is it like one Kadura and one sewing kit, I think, is the MMAC barter. And sewing kits were just really plentiful. They were basically selling at like therapist's trade price, which is 30k. Kaduras were 10k, or you could craft them for 8 with the barter that's the craft that's existed in the game forever, which is just incredibly good value. So you could potentially buy them for 38,000 rubles, right? Which made the MMAC amazing. But that then meant that you were getting destroyed by shotguns, which meant, and there's so many of those rigs in the mid game that are thorax only.
Yeah.
And you have the trooper, you have the MMAC, you have like the TV-110,
yeah.
you have the AVS. There's loads of these that are only thorax. Whereas really early on, I know the armors are rubbish, but like the Packer, is it called like the 6B3? It's like that floral one. Then you've got the press. There's actually almost none that are only thorax. Yeah, I love the press too. The press is great. Or the other one, the other green one, which is like a propane tank barter trade with Rapport. Yeah, there's like another one which is like steel, but again, they're all thorax and stomach. And to me, that might limit the benefit of shotguns. I feel like you're kind of shooting for the head. I don't know. Like you're just sort of spraying for the head and hoping to win, rather than doing, I don't know, or you're shooting legs, one or the other. I feel it's just hard. You can't shoot center mass, right, with the buckshots early.
Well, see, this is the beauty of the Flechette, is that you can just shoot them anywhere and it works. That's like the beauty of it. That's why I'm really thinking about Flechettes. But to stay on track with what you're saying, I don't know, man. It's yeah, it is just kind of like because the thing is, if you go for the head, you're probably going to catch some pellets in the arms and the thorax, right? If you go for the legs, you're probably going to catch some in the legs, maybe the stomach, maybe the arms, like maybe the thorax if you're like aiming really high up, like their crotch region. Crotch hits a hitbox. But I don't know, dude. It's a weird thing because you're just kind of like rolling the dice with each shot. Like I really would love to see the rip rounds get like improved, or any of like the really low pin but high flesh damage bullets get changed, because it'd just be interesting with the fragmentation stuff. But
slugs, yeah,
because that's the thing. Like I don't care if I find 100 rounds of rip ammo. I just can't really justify using it, because what, you gotta hit him twice in this, or is it 3 times in the same leg? I think it's 3 times in the same leg, or is it twice? I don't know.
The rip, it's only 2 times.
It's 2 times, yeah, okay. It's it's just like, man, and that's the downside. Is like, okay, I hit him once in the leg, let me shoot again. Oh damn it, their legs were moving. You know what I mean? It's like I've shot in between their legs. Like, it's so like, I'd rather just like shoot the shotgun with the spread and just do like an average damage of like 100 with every click of the mouse, because then it's just like I can just spam and just hope for the best. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, but
I know. But as you say, right, that's why Flechette works so well. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Flechette Factory just because it's so fun, because you can, I mean, it's what I've been doing in between other sensible raids. I would say probably half my raids on stream are Flechette Factory runs with the 153. I've come to really love the 153, and the speed at which you can click that gun is actually insane.
Oh, yeah, I do remember seeing that. Yeah, that's strange. That's crazy.
And you're just like, and just like, you can take 2 people out. There's the number of times I've just like run through 2 people with it is absurd, because exactly. So the reason why it works so well on Factory is, firstly, you're super close. Flechette really struggles on the spread dispersion, because the damage of Flechette is really low. So it's only 25 per round. So it really struggles if you are only hitting them with a couple of the pellets, because if you hit them with 3, it's like 75 damage. You have to hit them a lot. So the further you get away, you really start to struggle with that spread. Like the one thing that I've not done any investigation into that I would actually like to do a video on is about the cone of projectiles that comes out from different shotguns, because I've never really tested that or never really looked into it, whether the longer barrels make it tighter. If you put the choke on, does that actually make it tighter? Because it's not an MOA thing, right? It's a shotgun spread thing, which is like a different metric that I actually haven't looked into. I'm just not really
Yeah.
sure. I have a feeling that some of it does make a difference, but I've never looked at it. I've never really tested it particularly.
Hmm.
So that'd be interesting to know, because with Flechette, I've used it at distance before, and I've had it used on me at distance. I mean, I have a clip where I basically bounced like 3 sets of Flechette off the back of the ULAG, and I don't die because the spread is so extreme. You get hit by like 1 in the arm, 1 in the leg, 1 on the back. It gets absorbed by the armor. You just don't take enough damage because it's only 200. You need to hit somebody if they were completely naked and you don't hit them in the thorax or the head. You have to hit them 3 times with a full salvo before they die, which is actually quite a lot for like a buckshot
There's
type
like
of
24
shell.
pellets or
Yeah, I
darts
mean
in total.
it's a ton, right? It's a
Hmm.
ton. And you're not going to hit them with all of them every time. But the reason why it works so well on factory is everybody's super close, so you hit them with a load of them. They absolutely annihilate the armor, so you can just go for center of mass. If you hit them with 2 in the head, they die. If you hit them in the thorax and it goes through, normally, if they were using any regular normal armor in 2 shots, they die. If you hit them with all the pellets, and also because on factory you tend to either be fighting players with something which it destroys, or players with just a pistol. If they are not wearing anything at all, 4 pellets to the thorax, and they also die. So it deals with hatchlings. It deals with people wearing like moderate armor. Everyone's close range, so the dispersion isn't a problem at all. Like it's the perfect round
Yeah.
for factory. It's the perfect round. I had one which was really funny. I had like a trio, just like ego push straight down glass hallway while I was in the back room in forklifts and ran out. And I was like, I didn't even know how many there were. I was like, there were so many of them. And I just leant around that first pillar and just like blasted as quickly as I could. And I was like, okay, well, I took one of them out. I actually got flechetted back. And one of the guys came in stream. And when I got to the end screen, I killed 2 guys simultaneously. And there was another one. So there were 3 of them down there. And I just like sent flechette just down range, down glass hallway. Just killed 2 of them just with a random spray. Which is pretty funny. But you can just you can deal some serious damage, and you don't have to aim that strongly. I mean,
Right.
I've actually played Flechette Factory so much now. I'm actually a little bit scared to play Factory with like regular bullets because I have to the bullet actually has to go
Yeah.
like where I click, and then I have to actually click on the enemy PMC. Whereas with Flechette, you just spray in their general direction, and often people just die. It's actually insane. So I don't know, dude. So like with Flechette, I kind of agree. Except some of the you have to be kind of careful with your
You
distances.
have to be careful.
I'm just so torn about this like super early shotgun like method. I was thinking about the TOS, but the TOS suffers from the same problems for Flechette without being good. It's like 20,
yeah.
like some of them are just like so low damage. They're like under 25,
I'd just use a
which is
double
just
barrel.
not good. Yeah, I'd probably rather use double barrel than the TOS. I just don't think the TOS is good anymore. You'd rather use the double
Yeah.
barrel with like whatever, anything, honestly, 7 mil in
TOS
the
needs to be
double.
like 3,000 rubles or something too. It's because it's bolt
Yeah.
action. Why would you want to compare to the double barrel, right?
Oh, exactly. And we had this discussion previously when they were opening up the new guns too, and we're going to have the new the break action 7.62 by 54R weapon.
Right.
I just don't see any point of using that gun.
Same, dude.
Right, you have to hit them twice in the thorax.
I mean,
It's a
maybe.
headshot cannon basically. But
Right. Like maybe for like Tarkov shooter if it's compatible, or like Shooterborn in Heaven. If you're like really desperate, you need a cheap gun, like maybe there's a case for it there, but I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah. I see this is a thing now because now we're talking about guns and like ammo, and it's like,
Mm.
I'm looking at the list here and I'm just like, no, 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 no. Because I'm remembering like SMGs are just like not the way to go. Recoil plus pin is just really rough. The like 8R M4, I'm just kind of like, it's not ideal. I kind
what
of
you get
like,
given with initially, right? Like you have the PP19.
right.
So I mentioned the PP19 specifically in my vid, right? Because PP19's got like stupid recoil. MP5 also has stupid recoil. The basic stock M4 has even more stupid recoil. The stock AK-74 has stupid recoil as well. The UMP though, like it depends what it's.
Yeah, that's.
I actually do think we're going to see some recoil changes.
I hope so,
I
man.
really do. I really do. After
I hope
because
so.
people complained a lot, and what they did was a real fudge. It was a real quick
Yeah,
thing. I'm actually quite amazed that we didn't see any rebalances to recoil at all through the wipe.
it's too little,
And
too
given that
late.
given that we didn't, I do expect to see some changes. If we don't, it's going to be quite disappointing, if I'm honest, because looking at the UMP versus the PP19, like stock, they have the same recoil. Yes, the fire rate is slightly different, I will admit, but the performance is like it's like
Night
worlds
and
apart. It's
day.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's insane.
It's
It's
kind
actually
of
insane.
crazy.
So if it's the same, UMP is going to be really good. It's going to be really, really good because it stays on target. Like ACP ammo is also kind of cracked.
Yeah.
PST 54 damage and 20 pen. ACP match FMJ 76 damage and 25 pen. So 25 pen. I mean, against class 3, I'm actually going to quickly battle buddy it because I don't normally look down at that low level, but using my like general rules of thumb, like 27 should be the 50% pen chance against
Yeah.
class 3, I think. So I would expect it to be about 34 or something. But I'll have a look now quickly. But there's not that many guns that are nice, right? You used to be able to use the MP5, and that was quite decent. And yeah, the ARs had quite high recoil, even in back in the day. Like the base M4 also used to have relatively high recoil, right? It's like, what is it to start with? It's like 90, something like that, like 87 or 90, whatever. And there's nothing that you can really do to mod it to make it better. Whereas the MP5 started at like 50 or something. So that kind of justified using PST because M855 used to just suck. And they did actually buff it. It's not actually too bad now. It's like 50 damage, 28 pen, which is like that's okay. Like for the early
That's
wipe,
pretty decent.
it's all right because 28 pen. Because people always talk about 762 PS, right? And
Yes.
762 PS for the AKs, that's the one that everybody wants to use. But all the guns for it are not very good at the beginning. Like the SKS is fine, it's good, but it acts like early wipes DMR, right? You're not going to be spamming that thing because it flies up in the air bunch. It's still okay, but 32 pen is kind of like it's kind of a bit pointless, right? Because the sensitive spot for we'll see in a second. I'll go through the numbers, but the sensitive spot for this stuff, it's a little bit like M80 just goes straight through class 4, but so does anything, and that's got 41 pen, but so does anything with 39 pen. You kind of don't really care. Like once you're getting just above the like in the low numbers of a particular division, like it's still like PS still struggles with class 4, but deals with class 3 fine.
Yeah.
As does M855, even though it's 4 pen lower because it's got 28 pen, it should deal with it okay. So I'm actually just going to go and look at the I'm going to go and look at the numbers now because I forget. I forget how it works down this low. So which one were we talking about first? We were talking about the match, weren't we? ACP. Yeah, because ACP has got 25 pen, which is this one. Yeah, so against a press, it doesn't really matter. At 100% class 3, it's a 38% pen. Match FMJ with its 25. So basically the second shot is above 50%, which is why it's good because the UMP's got low recoil. So you can go.
That's the thing. You just stay on
And
target.
the first shot only pens like 1/3 of the time. But with the armor damage, it's second shot's going to go through 60%, and the third shot, you just tick. And then with the damage, with 76 damage per shot, even if you don't go through on a few and you hit an arm or whatever, like they're really messed up really fast. Yeah, that they lose half their HP within the first couple of rounds. Like that's going to scare people, or they're going to not be painkillered up. Or if you hit them in the leg, and then they're just going to die, right? Because you're like blacking limbs left, right, and center there. If you step it up slightly further, so that was 25 pen. So you step it up to the M855 round, you're already talking about a 66% chance to pen a class 3 on the first shot.
Which is like good, but what's the damage on it? Isn't it like
50?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem is like you may I want to say like, oh, I'll just like single tap it, but you just lose because of the recoil system, you just lose the benefits of conversion. So like you're still gonna have tons of recoil. Like maybe if you get your hands on a Scar L from like a rogue or raider, like maybe then, because I'm kind of curious to see what the G36 is gonna do. Like, is it gonna be an early trader weapon? Is it gonna be like a rogue weapon? Is it gonna have like these similar properties of the Scar L? If it's recoil, like that'd be kind of interesting. But
yes,
like I think it's kind of interesting to have these like guns like the Scar L that's like, and the MDR you could even say to an extent that's like it's not great late game, but it's early wipes. So there's like a It's like its value is really high early wipe, and then it gets lower and lower, lower, lower until it reaches a point. Whereas like the M4, it's like its value is kind of low early wipe, and then as you would get more unlocks, its value, like performance, I should say, goes up. So there's like this convergence point where the other superior gun takes over. But yeah, I don't know. It's like for me, it's 762 by 39 PS and like an SKS or an AK, UMP, and is that it? I think shotgun. Like that's kind of my own personal meme thing. I don't know what else. Everything else is like on par in terms of high recoil and single tap. Like you have to single tap it or just hope. I don't know. I don't know how you would like make like why would you want to use an MP5 that does less damage, less pin, has as much recoil as your M4 when you could just use an ump? Because correct me if I'm wrong, you can just buy the knives from Fence to get the ump. There's even a barter for it. I think it's like 2 DVD drives from Peacekeeper. Or maybe that's the mags. Is the ump
Yeah, maybe
block?
that's the mag. So the
Let's take a
UMP, you
look.
can get it from Peacekeeper 1 with the 7 knives.
Okay.
You can buy them from Fence if people sell them to Fence. So you
Yeah,
might not be
that's
able
the
to get them
question.
straight away. And then there's also a mechanic barter, but it's kind of expensive, so it doesn't really make like once you get the fleet, definitely doesn't make sense. Early on, it might because you don't really need those things. Because it's a let me just pull the page up again. It's mechanic one. It's like a DVD drive, a damaged hard drive, and two capacitors. So it's like it's not worth it, so to speak. But do you need like DVD drives are kind of like junk loot anyway. Damaged hard drives like slightly more useful, but not really. Capacitors you do actually need those for quests. So you're probably going to be unlikely to do that unless you've already got, because you need quite a few actually. You need some full mechanic. So you're probably going to save those up. So I think it's unlikely. So it's really the knife things. You can like save up the black handled knives, see if you can buy them off Fence. If you just go and check. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like the other ones, that I was thinking out. I was just like browsing a few others. Like I was talking like theory crafting with some other people, just like generally in like YouTube comments things, because people like throw all sorts of like random random ideas, which is kind of fun. So yeah, you mentioned about like the SKS. You could also, or the AKM, but you could also buy again the 762, like the Vepr that the 5762 is semi-auto, because you're not really going to be using full auto on the
Right.
AKM that early, because it's like the recoil is actually insanity level, like it's so crazy. So maybe it's not even worth bothering unless you have like tons of Tushonka and you can do the trade to get the AKM. Like I quite like having full auto still, just in case someone's like literally around the corner and you
Right.
just
Yep.
point blank, which is kind of
Yep.
fun. But then the other one is the 366 Vepr, like
Yeah.
AK, not the Bolty, because I don't think the Bolty works until you
Right.
have APM. But like the recoil is really high.
It's
But if
really
you're
high.
it's really high. But if you're playing like DMR style, then you buy EKO, and it's sort of a best of both worlds if you can manage to land your shots. You're not going to one tap people,
If
but
you could
it's
one tap people, I'd be interested in, because
this is
for
the thing.
me, the recoil is so high, I feel like I
Yeah.
can never get any follow up shots on them. Accurate
Yeah, because
follow up
it's
shot.
it's 73 damage and 30 pen.
Mm-hmm.
So PS is 32 pen, right? But EKO with its 30 pen is a 88% pen through class 3. So it's up there, you know? It's
Yeah.
like 1 in 8 doesn't pen, so it's pretty high. And 73 damage is pretty good. Now you can step down to FMJ
Mm-hmm.
for 98 damage, so you are going to kill them, but it's only 23 pen.
Right.
And there's the killer, right? It's
Yeah.
lower than the match, so you're not going to pen on the first shot. And this is the issue with 366, in my opinion. As you say, right, the recoil's super high, so it's really hard to get the follow-up shots on. If you drop down, you'll only kill them if they're wearing class 2, which in fairness, there's plenty of people wearing Packers. So, you may just kill them straight up if
Mm-hmm.
they're wearing Packer. But I think after the first couple of days, a lot of people are going to be wearing something better than that. Yeah, so it's only 25% pen chance against a class 3, but it is 95% pen against the Packer. So if someone's wearing the Packer and you hit them with FMJ, they will die. If they're wearing class 3, you're probably going to lose before you manage to hit them, just because it's just too slow. It's just too slow. It's too slow. So that's one potential. I mean, the only other interesting part about this. Now, I actually can't remember off the top of my head whether this is the case or not. I definitely know that this is the case for the Balti. I'm gonna have a go and look quickly because the VPO 215, it's not very good early because you don't have APM and you kind of need APM for it because it's bolt action. It does level your bolt action skills. So there is something to be said for using a bolt action right from the word go. There's lots of people who use a Mosin right from day one and use it all the way through, especially if they're better players, because it starts leveling your sniper skill. If you're intending to get Kappa, you have to do the psycho sniper thing at some points. You have to get your sniper skill to 5. You need to ultimately get your sniper skill to 9, right? If you want to get Kappa and complete all the quests with sniper skill. So the meta is you need to get your sniper skill to 5, then you complete shootable in heaven, that gives you 1, and then you pay for peacekeepers like sniper training, and that gives you 3 more levels. It's much easier to pay for the training at level 6 to get to level 9 and also use your 1 level at shootable in heaven from level 5 to level 6 than it is to try and grind manually up. So that's why the meta is to get to 5. So if you start using the Mosin right from the word go, you can train up that skill level. Like I'm only Balti level 3 because I don't use them enough, but I wasn't intending to get Kappa. So this is the thing, right? And that's why a lot of high level players end up using the Mosin. Good thing about the 209 is that it also uses it is also Balti, so you get skills for that as well. But one of the fun things about it is that, and yeah, I think this actually counts for both. The 366 muzzle brake suppressor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's compatible with both actually. It's one of the very few suppressors that you can buy early. You can buy it from Skier 1, and you can then suppress both the 209 and the 215. So it's like one of the very, very first things that you can suppress in the whole game. So if you're going to kill scavs,
it's not that
for
bad.
various quests, it's not that bad.
It's actually pretty
pen,
good.
Like 23 pen and 98 damage, or do the 30 pen and 73 damage, and you're suppressed.
You could bring it up as like a scav gun.
Yeah.
Like a secondary.
So that you're quiet.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the more you're talking about it, I'm thinking about running that and a shotgun.
Yes. So shotgun for close encounters, the old Call of Duty meme. And then if you're fighting anybody at long range, because you can buy the Bastion, right? So maybe not necessarily just the VPO. So one peg actually has a video about sniping rogues at level 2, trader level 1, unlocking Jager. Then you can buy the Pillad scope. So you have like a 4 times, and you have the VPO, and you can buy the suppressor from Skier. So that's one way to do it. And then if you don't want to go down the Balti route, you want the 209, then you've got 30 round AK mags. You can buy the Bastion, you can buy the suppressor, and then you can buy the Pillad scope or whatever else you might want to have on there. Pillad being the only real scope that you can get early, but you can have one on an AK like gun. I mean, in theory, you can add the AK-100 handguard and a laser too if you want to be able to fight in CQB. I don't know. It's like it's a maybe.
Yeah,
it's a big maybe. Maybe for like woods, maybe for outside on shoreline, like maybe.
I'm probably gonna do it.
People aren't expecting to get shot at. Even if you're playing against people at decent distance, right? People aren't expecting to get suppressed shot at that early.
Yeah,
they really aren't.
That early. The other gun that I was thinking, I have to look it up, but I can't remember which one's better. But it's either the Ket or the Klim. One of them has like a better recoil hidden stat or something another. I can't remember exactly what the details are. But that could be enticing because it would basically be the only viable SMG. I mean, the ammo is not great, but I don't know. And you would have 20 round mags unless you got 30s off a scav. I don't know. It's something I had to like investigate them all over.
I did a little bit of work on that casually because I think I also noticed the same thing, and it's like because you can't mod them at all, I just don't feel like it makes enough of a difference. The recoil's just there. If you're fighting over 20 meters, like you kind of just have to single tap at people. You can't full auto it. Like the convergence doesn't help. I just don't feel like it helps. That's my personal opinion. Maybe different people will choose differently. The only other one that maybe I thought was interesting. I don't know whether this still happens actually, but like it was actually mentioned in chat too, was about you can get some of the better ammos early on for the 545 weapons. So maybe in the first like week or something, because if you play reserve, you can get BP and BT for 545. there are actually some barters as well for it, for like Tushonka and that kind of thing. And I think if you buy, I can't remember anymore. Maybe they changed it. It used to be something along the lines, if you bought the AK-74U from Prapor, you used to get a mag of BP
Oh, yeah.
inside. And so you used to be able to min-max that a bit. So you could go like
I remember.
15 BPs on top and then 15, because I think T is the best round that you can buy from Prapor just straight up at the beginning. So you put like 15 Ts at the bottom and 15 BPs at the top. And BP, I don't think is actually any joke early on, right? It's like
It's actually pretty good.
35 pen and 49 damage. Like
Yeah, it's
it
actually pretty solid.
it kind of slaps, right? That's the highest pen that we've talked about so far. It's higher than
Yep.
762 PS. It'll destroy through class 3. And at 35, you're then bordering on like class 4 levels.
Yeah.
Like 37, as I said before, 37 is roughly like that's kind of the way it is, right? It's like 27 for anyone who's like not familiar with the rules of thumb. 27 is the 50% pen point for class 3. 37 is the 50% pen chance point for class 4. 47 for class 5 and 57 for class 6. Like roughly speaking, you'd be about 50%. So at 35 pen, you're talking kind of in the 30s. Like around the sensitive point, it's about 10% per pen point. So if 37 pen, I'm probably overcomplicating this, but if 37 pen is the 50% pen chance against class 4, 36 is about 40%, and 35 is about 30%, roughly. But to be able to pen through class 4 with a fully automatic caliber from day one is no joke.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's no joke. If you go bear, you'll have some of those weapons anyway. If you go USEC, you'll obviously have to buy them. But if you still, I need to actually check whether you still get BP. I might just load the game up and check whether you still get BP.
I
No,
think
I
you
can't buy it. I can't buy it. I can only barter for it because
Well, I think
because what we're going to talk about later.
I think the barter does work for sure. For sure. I'm not sure about buying. That's the one thing I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not sure.
kind of what ends up happening now. Think about it, because I go bear, I end up using the AKs they give you, and you end up killing bears that have AK parts. You end up killing scavs that have AK parts. You end up finding a lot of AK parts. So you end up just using AK for a long part of the wipe until you get something better, which typically is like a RFB or a SR25. Man, I remember I do remember using the Scar L and I thought it was garbage. It might have been garbage at the time. I can't remember, but because I think they
did some
did
changes. So I don't remember exactly like when that came through.
Exactly, but I did get an HK from a lighthouse rogue, early on, and I took my best mods from my stash, Giga. My best mods from my stash. I put it on there. I
I
used
can see
that
where this is
gun
going.
like 2-3 raids, and I had the hardest time killing scavs because I would shoot once and it was just like it would just like fly up in the air. Like it was I was better off just selling it than trying to use it. It's actually so sad because I was so excited and I had all these parts I saved up, put all in there, and it's just like, nope, sorry. Stick to the UMP and just hold mouse 1, and eventually they'll die.
Exactly. It's a bit, yeah.
Dude,
it's a bit upsetting.
honestly, I don't know if I can tolerate another UMP 45 wipe, dude. It was like the staple of the early game was just everyone had umps. You either had to ump or get humped, Sorry, that was sorry for the
Exactly.
viewers and listeners that cringe right there.
I thought I was late onto the train, but I was actually going back through because I managed to somehow it saved I think I was kind of tactical. I actually have my first like stream because I did the very first stream I did of the patch. I did it like all live, so I have like the first 3 hours of gameplay from 12.12, and I still have the footage saved down in like full quality, which is like kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
I went back and had a look at that, and that was kind of what inspired me a little bit to like look at some of these things. And the first couple of raids, I was using the MDR, I was using the UMP, and a couple of and then maybe like the SKS after that. So I was like, oh, because I thought I was really late onto the UMP train, but looking back, I actually was using it in like the first series of raids because I think I might have found one or something. I'm not sure if I actually understood exactly how good it was, but there's 2 more that I wanted to kind of like very quickly just go over because I don't want to spend too much longer on this. One being that I'm going to touch on for like 2 seconds and then move on is the Saiga 9. I've seen lots of people giving the Saiga 9 praise recently. It doesn't work for me, but it might work for you. The gun is one of the few guns in the game to have really low recoil. it's semi-auto, so that also helps, but it's pretty low when it comes straight out the box. And if you're an accurate head tapper, you can just put a PST through someone's eye socket, and that's that. It's 16K. It actually, like, I don't feel like it's got regular AK irons. It's okay to shoot. You don't really need to do anything to it because it already has no recoil at all. So if you can just crack a 9mm straight through someone's head, then maybe maybe you do that. Like, some people are singing its praises even now because people are saying, oh well, no one's using face shields, so I can still go multiple raids with killing people with this thing. Actually, I think Swamp Fox might have just put a video out about using PP19 now. I haven't actually watched it yet. It's one of his movies. It's a bit longer, so I've kind of saved it up. I don't know what your 2-second thought is on that. Do you think that gun's good? I don't think the gun's good.
Not sure.
So, okay, so maybe your mileage may vary. Maybe give it a try if you've got good aim. I think you need to have good aim for it. It doesn't work for me because I'm not a crack shot. The only other one that I think maybe is interesting is the PPSH early because you can get 35 round mags for it. It's only 26K. You just PPSH goes brr. It's got 1,000 RPM. You use the recoil, aim at their chest, and let the recoil jump up to their head. It might work. It's not a gun that I've typically used. It pulls dramatically off to one side as well, the PPSH. It's either left or right, I can't remember, but it pulls dramatically to one side. That's much more noticeable on the drum, in fairness. Less so on the 35s, because it's just, it's small. The recoil isn't insignificant on that weapon because of the RPM, but it can be good. And you can kind of leg meta people with it early too, actually. So that's maybe another one to think about. A little bit further along the line, so you do need to get to Prapor 2. Like, at what point do you get Prapor 2?
I think it's...
Okay, you need to be level 20. Oh, no, sorry, level 15.
Yeah.
So you're at the flea already, so it's kind of like 50-50. Yeah, but PP, I think, is actually... I used PP this wipe. PP was actually all right. PP is very similar to BP, except it's like a third of the price if you buy it from Prapor. It's very cheap. It's quite good to just spray people down with in the early mid wipe. It's like just as people are getting to the class or level 2 traders and moving up into class 4, it's got like 33 pen, so kind of struggles a little bit, but as just a sprayer, it's not too bad, and it's way cheaper than BP. I think that's the point. BP still is not great against class 4. BP is also not great against class 4. BT is a lot more expensive. Like, if you're thinking about going for BP, I would advise basically just go PP. Don't bother going for BP really ever. Like, you either upgrade to BT and spend the money, or go for the big PP. But your PP and it's a shame. It's a shame the PP19 doesn't take 545, isn't it? Because that'll be like epic memes. But PP is good. PP is the unsung hero of 545, I think.
I have a quick one. The new Magnum, or the Magnum they added, the 357.
Oh, God.
Level 2 Jager. Now hold on, meme or meta. Hold on now. Let's hear this out. Oh wait. Yeah, level 2 Jager, you have the option of 70 damage, 35 pin. You can buy the revolver level 2 Jager as well. It's not the tactical one, but it's just the stock revolver.
Is that the tiny one?
No, that's the 9mm.
The normal one. It's the normal. Okay.
There's technically 3 variants. The tactical one is just fully modded essentially, but I think it's like Skeeter sells it. But anyways, level 2 Jager, you can buy the 357 Magnum revolver. You got the ammo. It's 70 damage, 37 pin. Okay, like, not ideal. There's Hollow Point, which is 99 damage, 18 pin. And then there's SP, which is 108 damage, 12 pin. And SP has plus 27% accuracy. I don't know how much this matters. And minus 29% recoil. Also don't know how much that matters. I might try it out. It's probably going to end horribly. But, for the memes, for science, I'll probably give it a go.
Yeah. I feel like that's the same as 366. You've got like the 70 damage and the 35 pen where you nearly kill them and then they kill you. And then you've got 88 damage and 24 pen where in theory you basically one-tap anyone wearing a packer and everyone else kills you because you can't pen their armor. I feel like it's one. I feel like it's the same gun.
Yeah, it's the ammos are in such a bad. It's like both the worst thresholds. Yeah, we'll see. I'll give it a go and see what happens.
Exactly. We will see.
We will see. That's the long and short of it for the early wipe progression tips and all the things.
I mean, it's a big topic, right? It's a big topic. So I think it justifies the time. So I guess like moving on after we did spend a long time on that, but that's fine. I think it justifies it. So where are we now then? Where are we now? What events have we had, and kind of like how are we going to progress from here? So airplane. It's been a bit of a weird pre-wipe.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a weird pre-wipe so far. I think we can all say that for sure. So we had a ton of airplanes. That's what we had. All the airdrops ever. That's everybody was just going like, "Yo, what's going on here? This is not normal." It was up to like, was it like 6 planes or something on customs at one point? I didn't actually play on that day because I think it was the Monday of this week, so I hadn't actually streamed yet. Because it was on Monday and they started just like doing airdrops everywhere. And so that was kind of like, it is sort of signified, like people were saying, is this pre-wipe? Is this not pre-wipe? Like it probably is pre-wipe, but no one's really sure yet because it's just like kind of dumb. Because the airdrops, like I actually hit like 2 or 3 airdrops, not then, but just before that. And they just were all complete garbage. There was like 3 sets of class 3 armor in there, some really very, very ordinary guns. There was like a 153, a Scar L. Like there was very, 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 very boring. So that didn't really it's not like break the economy level. Then I can't remember exactly which order this is, but I think this is the order. Then we had the Abdul boss stim, which I've apparently been pronouncing wrong the whole time. So I learned that. That's good. Which they did this last time, and they teased some of the, well they didn't actually tease them. They were playing with the community last time, so it gave a load of effects which looked like lots of 12s, and there was like 22 in there, 22 and 12, and then this time we've got it's the same stim basically, except this time some of the numbers are different, but we've got the same meme, which is the 5% chance that you take a bunch of damage and die on taking it. If you don't die, then you get all of the other effects, which is like plus 50 on all sorts of things. You just become like the turbo warrior and can run around the map like complete crazy. And also that we didn't realize when I got given a viewer kit with it in, it also poisons you with the cultist toxin. So you basically need to have like either one of those XTG antidotes on you or an augmentin, which we had neither of. So we had to play a full raid with the grenade launcher with the health ticking down continuously, which was kind of funny. I did end up with like 3 ETGs from someone else. So I was just like Propitol, ETG, Propitol, heating up with the Grizzly and stuff.
Yeah.
And this was on customs. That actually kind of moves us neatly into this next one, which is this happened pretty much straight away afterwards. All the bosses now on customs. I ended up killing Sanitar with the GL. We were trying to find an augmentin or an antidote on him. Unfortunately, he just had like 2 Solewas and like a big Grizzly. So I was just like healing myself constantly with meds for the rest of the raid and ended up dying ultimately. But that's really it. So like all bosses on customs. That's the next thing that's still going on as we speak now, which is the Friday the 24th. And then after that, we've got today's event, which is the barter only traders.
Yes.
Which is kind of super, super weird.
It is weird.
And then the very last thing, just before we talk about it all, there was a peacekeeper note probably about like an hour and a half before we started this, where there's like a UN letter, and it says the 3006 at the top. He says the lighthouse is open, and dog tags are worth a lot. And so there's some barters for dog tags. Pro tip, right now, the lighthouse isn't open. You still get shot by the sniper despite what it says on the note. So
yeah, I mean,
that's kind of funny.
I kind of interpret that as like within the lore. Like I didn't really take it literally. Like they were talking to, us, the players. It's like a weird, like within the context of the message, it made sense. But I could see how you could extrapolate. Oh, it might be open, but I didn't really get that vibe. But that's just me. I'm probably the minority there. Anyways, yeah, I mean, quickly, like, what do you think about the barter only event? Because I know like a lot of people were like, okay, the airdrops event, pretty poggers, man. The stem thing, okay, whatever. We still got the airdrop events going on, and then you got the bosses, and like that's the big one. Like people really like that. Are like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then you got this barter event, like it's like, this is kind of a question mark. I feel like this would be a cool event in like the middle of a wipe or something, like not at the end of the wipe when I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. I don't know. Doesn't bother me personally, but it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I think the community is kind of torn on this. There's like a lot of people that think it's kind of fun. Me personally, I'm much more on the other side of like, we've already had one scarcity event this wipe where they deleted all the traders. making items barter only makes the marketplace barter only for approximately the first 3.26 seconds. Then the entire flea market gets bought out, and it's as if the traders don't exist at all. Because you can't buy any items for doing any of the barters, really. Like,
Right.
yeah, you can. People are putting them up, but it's for like silly money. You may have money, you may not. It depends on what you did with in the lighthouse, the Lightkeeper event. It depends on what you did after that. It depends whether you played or whether you didn't play. It depends on whether you spent all your money on customs already. Like, it really depends on what you did. And so it's just kind of like a random crapshoot. I don't feel like there's much like player agency there. It's just like, I still feel like I can get stuff because I ended up selling. I had like a whole case full of bitcoins I didn't sell, and yeah, they suck on price now. But I sold all of them, made like 5 mil, so I can buy stuff if I need to. But I just kind of feel for all the people who were kind of just getting by, playing the end of the wipe, and
Right.
people who are maybe not that many wipes in, and they've got relatively lighter stashes, and standard players who haven't got that much stored up as well, who are like, oh yeah, it's finally the end of the wipe, and then BSG's like, hey guys, here's another scarcity event where you can't buy anything, you can't buy any mags. You can only barter for certain mags. What can you buy now? Like the Vector mag and like the UMP mag and stuff. It's just like, okay, sure, as you say, right, this would be cool like mid in the middle sometime, but like, why do it now? I don't understand why do it now. I think it like I'm normally I normally really lean heavily on like benefit of the doubt and like take the positive where we can kind of thing. I think it's really stupid.
Mm.
Like my personal opinion, I think it's really stupid because like it's great for people who want to just be playing like customs a ton and it forces people to like go in and like loot there or whatever. But either people are just like not able to do that or they just don't have much luck or whatever. Like I'm not very good at hunting the bosses. Like I had to face some like serious truths about my boss killing skills when I played customs yesterday for like 3 hours. And like I literally did not survive a single raid. I killed a couple of the bosses. You have like tons of people online. I had to basically tell myself, it's just like, this is what sometimes makes my content relatable. I'm more like an ordinary player. It's fine. You've got like all the streamers out there being like, how many bosses did you kill? I've only managed to kill 4 out of 6. And I'm just like, freaking dude, every time I met Killer, I died. I killed Tagilla once, and I killed Sanitar once. Outside of that, I've been killed by Gluhar's goons like 4 times. I got killed by Killer 3 times. I got killed by PMCs in like 3 of the other raids. And I was just like, dude, like this is rough, right? I literally didn't leave. I played 10 raids, I didn't leave once. And so for people who are like not great, I mean, I could play the other maps, I suppose, but like no one's there. I just don't really feel like the need to play. I mean, it was fun. Honestly, I had fun actually. To be fair, right, I don't want to whinge too hard because I played like the first 4 raids like seriously, or the first 4 or 5 raids seriously. Got a bit just like a bit fed up, and then basically just did like stupid viewer kits for the final 5 raids, which included like the GL kit and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I actually had a lot more fun when I changed over to just like messing about, to be honest. But I can see why I went in 10 raids with and like some of those reviewer kits. So I guess like 5 raids with like Slick, Altin, Reese T, Tagilla Mask, like whatever, like every raid, like MDR, Mutant, that kind of thing. So and people who are doing that who don't have like tons more kit behind, maybe have like run out of stuff already. And so now it's like, well, now I feel like I can't participate in the customs event anymore because I don't have any stuff and I can't buy anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it almost invalidates the events that they've put in. Right? Like I still have things, right? I can still piece together kits. I still have tons of ammo. I still have tons of like I have like ACPCs lying around, tactics, whatever. There's like my stash is like full of stuff. There's no way I can get rid of it all. Right? It's just the way that any player who plays, enough, you just end up this way, especially if you've played multiple wipes in the past. I just feel that the timing is bad. And that it would be a great event, not now. And I think it's just like it's especially weird for me because we already had one scarcity event. It drove like so many players away. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Like I'm glad they tried it, but like I just feel like we've already done this. We've done this already. People are just waiting for the wipe. Now, like making the pre-wipe kind of suck for a bunch of people. I don't see the point. I don't see the point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see if I was still playing how it could be kind of fun to like you have to scavenge for stuff now. Like your PMC is basically a scav, like it's much more active in the raid. So like I can kind of see that, but at the same time, it's like if you're, not everyone may be in that position. Not everyone has to scavenge. If you look at my stash, it's just like all gear and shit from that I saved up from when the first scarcity event was like coming. I thought I might play and I didn't play, but I have all this anyways. So like that's kind of like crappy because then some people don't really have to participate. It's like some people have to participate in this scarcity event. Some people can just opt out. Like, oh, I'm a billionaire, I can just opt out of this. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird thing. Like, whereas like they did like traders $1 or 1 ruble, then it's like basically everyone, like virtually everyone can participate, right? So I don't know. I kind of see that. It is weird. Yeah.
I just think it's bad timing. I don't know. Like it's fine and it's
Right.
fun for some people. I just feel that like if you're down on your luck, like well, who does it actually?
Exactly.
Who's this event for?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really affect me, as I said. Like I've still got like tons of stuff, so I don't really care. But I think it's kind of a stupid event because who does it actually affect? Okay, well it affects people who like run out of gear. Okay, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to go to customs? Well, no, but that's where all the action is. And so if you don't go to customs, you're probably not going to find like geared players. Like how are you going to get gear to go and
Yeah.
play customs?
Or
Because how are you going to play customs when like literally
right.
every fight, like every time, every corner you turn around is either a dude wearing the best kit that he physically has from the whole wipe, or one of the bosses because there's like 5 on the same map or 6 on the same map. Like it's nuts, right? Like the one successful raid that I had where I ended up killing Sanitar, his 2 guys took their stuff. I was like, I'm going to try and take the quickest exit that I can. Like if you carry on like walking through, because that was a sort of around old gas ish. It was in more of the that I can't remember what you call it, like the factory custom zone, da da da. But I was like going through old gas. I was like, well, I could just turn the power switch on and I can go down underneath Stronghold, Alamo. Yeah, I need to get past Glughar's goons, but normally they're upstairs, so I don't necessarily get shot at by them. Because the alternative is to like try and skirt around the edge, and they'll still shoot at you, by the way. And then you have to get past Sturman's dudes so that you can get to RUAF roadblock, whatever. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try and go under Stronghold because this makes the most sense. As soon as I came out of old gas, I just got sniped by another player. So I was just like, this is really really insane. Um, I don't know, man. It's like I just feel like those people. It's like you're in this like endless spiral of just like never being able to leave the raid. Like I couldn't leave the raid as a average skill player with a lot of experience with end game kit for every raid that I played. I just don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it cuts a lot of people out of the fun of the
Yeah.
end of the wipe. And the
It
end of the wipe
does
is
feel like
it's
that.
not supposed to be Tarkov. It's supposed to be all the bosses are there, all the gear's cheap, things are plentiful. Just let people just mess about at the end, right? It's like let people play on creative mode for the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point to me. And there's a ton of people out on Twitter saying like, "Oh, Tarkov's about adapting and da da da." Yeah, it is, sure, but like it's like 3 days before the end of the wipe, man. Like it's about just like having fun and giving people a
Right.
break, you know? Like I don't think those normal rules apply in the final 3 days of the wipe. I just think that those people are kind of masochists, who think
Yeah.
that it's still about like adapting or whatever. Like, yeah, maybe, but at the same time, for some people, it's literally not possible. If you've run out of like the good tier ammo,
Hmm.
like we did one raid, the very last raid that I did was MP5K with PSO with a thermal, and like it was funny, but like one of the first guys that we met had a Reese Tion. It's just like that's the end. It's like
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Like even if you buy LPS, you're still probably not penning that bad boy.
Yeah. Much, yeah, difficulty is like heavily increased for sure. So it's a weird one because when you were talking about it, I was thinking, well, what could that person do? And like as you said, think of customs gonna get crapped on, and then like you think, well, the bosses are on customs, and they removed the bosses from the other maps. Like as I understood it, the bosses were still spawning on the other maps, even though they were 100% spawning on customs. But then they removed it, so like you would think, oh, I'll just go get good gear from other maps. But as you said, there's no players on the other maps. There's no bosses on the other maps, so you're just getting scav kits and hitting crates and containers alone in a lobby because no one's there. Like that's not very fun. You could probably go to Lighthouse and farm some rogues, or what's the other one? Reserve and farm some raiders, and then maybe you would find players because other poor people would also be in that category. It's just kind of it's like all the elitists are on customs. Meanwhile, you're just the poor person segregated to lighthouse farming raiders and
Yeah,
reserve
like desperately
farming.
trying to find plexiglass so maybe you can buy a Reese T.
Right
You know what I
now,
mean? Like,
they did sort of correct this in a way by adding a barters for the dog tags, I guess, which is interesting. You can get some really good gear for some dog tags. I haven't looked at them. I don't know the requirements, limitations. If they're the stupid freaking dog tags, it's like bear 20 and higher, and it's like, ugh, I hate those. I hate that system. God, that system's so annoying. Don't it's probably that system, isn't it? Just go ahead and give it to me. It's that
I
system.
don't actually know. So because I was kind of busy this afternoon, so I saw the Peacekeeper letter. That was the last thing that I've seen. I haven't actually investigated like what does what as of yet. So okay, chat's saying all the good stuff is sold out. So what they've put like limits. They put limits
Yeah,
on the
I
dog
don't
tag
know.
barters. Like that again seems like why would you do that? You know, I
It's
mean to be
cool they're
fair,
trying.
yeah, exactly. They're trying random stuff. Like it's fine. It doesn't ultimately it
It
doesn't really
doesn't
matter
matter.
because it's the
Right.
end of the
It's
wipe.
just yeah.
People are just waiting for the wipe anyway, so
It
it
could be
doesn't really
better.
matter. Exactly. Like it could be better, but I actually care less about this than about some of the other stuff. Just
Yeah.
because it sounds like I care a lot, but only because people are very, very vocal about it
Hmm.
that I've spoken to. So I don't know. I mean, this part is dog tags things like kind of fun because I've got loads of dog tags because I never
Yeah.
sold any of them. I was thinking about it, and then I didn't. What's this? There's some like random grenades for like level 60 dog tags and stuff. Yeah, I haven't really looked yet, but yeah, GL, like, whatever. I'll have to give it a good look. Like Exfil for like level 30 dog tags, 10 bear, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but like it doesn't matter because we're so close to the end anyway.
Right.
Or at least so we think. I
And
mean, we must be right.
and the dilemma they're in, from my understanding, is that they can't do if they do the maybe it's not a big dilemma, I don't know, but if they do the like everything's free from the traders, then like everyone goes crazy for the day, and then like everyone's like, well, when's the wipe? Like this is boring now, like when's it coming? When's it coming? The economy just like completely tanks. Like there's no coming. It's like the point of no return. So I don't. At least that's how I would see it. I'm not sure if that's actually happened in history. Um, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's definitely been some pre-wipes where they've left it like $1, 1 ruble for like too long, for sure. That's
That's what I
definitely happened.
thought.
Yeah, I mean they don't change anything other than just making everything 1 ruble. So you still can't do, if the barters are still really expensive for getting Reese teas or whatever, you can't buy any of this stuff anymore. So it's still flea driven, right? So it's a
Okay.
bit different now because there's so much stuff that's like not on the flea anymore.
Yeah.
So like because then before everything was on the flea and everything ended up just getting really cheap because like no one really cared. Or did it get really expensive? I don't remember. Maybe it was still really expensive because everyone was buying everything out. But now you can't buy it there anyway. So now it's all flea market barter items only. So half the time, even when it's $1, like yeah, you have people running around with T7s, but no one's got any of no one's got I don't know whatever silly gun because you can't buy whatever it is. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but we'll see. But yeah, they can't leave it at that level for too long. I guess like the only thing that I would say about this customs event and with some of the scarcity or whatever, it isn't the $1 event. Things still are scarce in a way, which does drive people to go and play, I guess, because it's like you still feel like you're getting rewarded for killing people and stuff. So there is still that, but I still don't like it. But I will give that up. Admittedly, that there's a reason for people to go and play there because, especially if you're getting dog tags and then you're trading them in for stuff. I still feel that event leads to it's like fun for the chads and not those people who aren't winning, I guess. But you can still put them in your skill container. It's not finding raid required, so
That's true.
maybe that's okay. But yeah, you're still winning stuff and losing things, and it's not free to get those items. There's still some impetus to play, so it kind of makes this is probably okay. Let's put it this way: this pre-wipe event and this series of events is probably better than a week of everything being at $1.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
So
That would get
it's not the
bold. That would
worst.
get
Exactly,
boring really fast. Yeah.
exactly in like 24 hours, and this is at least like it's at least interesting, and there's still stuff happening.
Yeah.
Some people are saying they're still like apparently they're like maybe adding extra barters as time's going on, like after the letter, like some things have been added or whatever. Like
Mm.
they did this last time actually with like some things got
Yeah, it's
removed
like
early and some got added. So they're fiddling around and doing whatever. So we'll see what's yet to come.
yeah.
I don't really know what's going to happen next. I'm imagining that at some point we'll see raiders on all the maps as well. Maybe we won't this time, but I imagine that we probably will. Because last time they did all of the bosses on reserve, and then we saw raiders on all the maps. Generally, factory becomes the most fun for that because there's just raiders everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's just entertaining because it's small. And then we'll see the $1 thing, and then we'll get the wipe. I guess that's kind of it. There might be some more events interspersed, but if they kind of do what they've done in the past, then that will be that. But when exactly is the wipe going to be?
Well, if you look, it's clear as day on the on the Sanitar stem. And also the UN letter, it says 3006 wipe confirmed. I mean, that's dude, come on. Like they might as well
Yes,
just came out and confirmed it, and but instead they wanted to make us work to connect the
exactly.
dots, dude.
Exactly. So the first indication of this and the connecting of those particular dots was the Abdolbus.
Yeah, I'm not even
Is
gonna
it Abdolbus?
try.
Is it?
I think
It's Abdolbus.
Adolbus.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Abdolbus. Yeah, that's the one. So that had the 5% death that we were talking about
Hmm.
is a damage of 3006, which in European date format is 3006, which would be the 30th of June. Seems
Right.
kind of likely. So Tarkov Reporter put together he normally does this, the when white pool.
Oh, okay.
Reply when you think the white will happen. This is on June the 20th that he put this post up. Exact date to the minute, time zone, the closest wins 550 subs.
Oh,
So the 20th was like 4 days ago or
yeah.
something. Lots of people voted on lots of different times. At that time, so I voted on the 21st. I said 30th of June, 8:59 a.m. Moscow. So I don't know, we'll see. And then as soon as the Abdolbos thing with the 3006 came out, he closed it and said, "Okay, we might have a date here, so I'm going to close it now, so not many other people go and guess it." I think Nice Guy seems quite convinced that it's that. And then this Peacekeeper note that we've got has 30.06 written
Yes.
at the top. As some people are saying, like it's almost too obvious. But in the past 12, or was it 1212 that had 1212 written on the note? They had
It
2212 written
had
inside the Abdol boss. So last time that was a bit of like a red herring.
yes.
So who knows?
Yes. It's
But yeah,
possible. I just you just never know with these things, so I
exactly.
who knows.
Exactly. It's also a Thursday.
That's true. We can't forget about the significance of Thursday. That's true.
It's a Thursday. We've had 3006 on two different pieces of information. Did I mention that it's also a Thursday?
You know what? No, I don't think you did. No.
It is a Thursday.
Okay.
So wipe confirmed, basically.
Pretty well much. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
safe
pretty
bet.
much. I'd be very surprised if it's not on Thursday the 30th. It might not be. If it's earlier, people will rejoice. If it's later, everyone's going to be very angry.
If you can, try to take off work for that day, but only if you can. Do not make any like crazy don't make any crazy plans because it very well could just not happen on that day. It
Yeah,
could
it
be
could not
like an
happen.
event,
Exactly.
it's just like who freaking knows, dude? Who freaking knows?
Exactly. Or it could not happen, and then they don't want to do it on the Friday, and then they push it, and then it happens on the
Right.
4th, or whatever, or like the 5th or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. I'm not sure, but I still think the 30th is pretty good. That was my original prediction, even before Davos
I
changed.
know. I
So
saw that. I was like, "What? The Giga cheat? Now hold on a minute. The Giga do a little cheating."
So,
I
and
know.
as
Good
I
for
said, I
you.
did that on the 21st. So, that's I hope that it comes through because that'd be
Yep.
kind of cool if I do actually manage to predict it. Because I feel like the server goes down at like midday here. I didn't actually go. I could have been like really, meticulous and gone back and looked at like when they take the servers down and stuff. I just remember it being like kind of early. And Moscow's normally like 3 hours ahead of me, I think. 2 or 3 hours. And so I think like around then it's probably right. I don't know. We will see. We will see. I'm excited to find out. I hope it comes. Then. I mean, I think it could come earlier in some ways potentially. If there's like a load of weekend events, like if we see the $1 ruble thing happen on Monday, then it could even come like the Tuesday or the Wednesday in theory. But I think Thursday's the best contender so far. I do. I think it's the best contender.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess we're kind of we're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. The one last thing that I wanted to talk about, which probably won't take too long to be honest, is when we get to the end of the wipe, I always like to put out a poll, see where people are at. It's a good judge of where people are. This wipe's been a little bit different because not only have we had ordinary quests, but we've had daily quests as well, which has kind of boosted some people's levels up. It really helps with getting level 62, which is what you need to get Kappa, because without that, it's an insane. Like I'm not even sure if it's really possible for the vast majority of even like the Uber chads, to be honest, because like you get a lot of XP once you hit level 46, which we talked about before, which I did manage to do. I'm now level 47, so like I've started ticking up because you get 30k for each daily, you get 150k for a weekly. Like it's the difference is remarkable.
Yeah.
So I put up a poll. What was the highest level that you reached in 12.12? Obviously, this is of my viewer base. So there's a skew. If you think about, the distribution of regular players, my distribution is probably even more skewed towards the lower end of players, because the guys who are like level 62 and above are not necessarily, they are less likely per player to be watching my content than someone who's level 30. So bear that in mind. But 0 to 15 was 11%. 10% of the players of Tarkov have only just got to the fleet or don't have the fleet yet, which is still remarkable to me. Like 1 in every 10 players. It's amazing, really, actually, when you think about it. 16 to 29 is 25%, so another big block. These people don't have Mechanic 3 yet, which again is huge. It locks off like half the hideout and things, and they can't access things like rounds for the MP7, for example. It's nothing to be sniffed at. Then 30 to 41 is a big block. It's like 36%, as you might imagine. Lots of people in there. Most sort of casual players who played like a couple of wipes, who play on and off for like a couple of hours every couple of days, will probably reach that kind of region. Then people who are in the 42 to 61 bracket was 26%. So that's people who have max traders but didn't get to the level requirement for Kappa. Now, I had a couple of comments of people talking about that one. Actually, beforehand, I'll say, so 62 plus was the final category, which was 3% of people. It's a very small number who got 62. Imagine anyone who got 62 got Kappa, unless they got stuck on 1 or 2 items. But for all intents and purposes, those people are the Kappa people, right? So it's like 3% of my viewer base, which is actually kind of high.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I had a couple of comments, people saying that 42 to 61 was kind of too wide. That leaves a lot of scope for people who've like just got to max traders versus people who are like pushing for Kappa, blah, blah, blah. I mean, in my opinion, like the way that the numbers came out, like 11%, 25%, 36%, 26%, 3% was kind of what I was hoping for. And kind of why I set it like that anyway. And my personal opinion on it is that you're basically either a max trader gamer or you're a Kappa gamer. You're one or the other. So if you're level 42 or 55, like it doesn't really matter. I know it's a lot of XP difference, but also 42 to 61, most of these people, unless you're in the unfortunate 42 to 45 region, 46 and above have the cracked dailies, right? So you can quite easily, I feel like it was easier for me to go from 46 to 47, for example, rather than to go from like 41 to 42, or like 44 to 45. It was like, it was a real slog getting up there. And I've been playing random stuff, and I've just been like naturally leveling back up again. I felt like it always happens this way. When I get to like level 38 or something, I feel like it's just so slow. I just don't level for ages. There's not that many quests to do. Yeah, and you unlock like a bunch of stuff. When you get to 45, you can try and start completing long line, and there's like other quests that you get, and some of them are not actually that bad. It's interesting. So that's the reason why I did it that way. You ended up with like a nice even distribution, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the players that we have here, so what do we have? Like 50, 60, like 63% of players didn't get max traders, and then the rest of people did, and 3% of those just like that. Yeah, exactly. 26% of people with max traders, or 29% of people with max traders, and 3% in total with basically the Kappa level experience. Right? It's like the perception of always running into like Uber chads, just like it always feels that way, right? It always feels that towards the end of the wipe. And I guess there's a selection bias because the people that you kill are the kind of the players who aren't as skilled or whatever. So it always feels like you die head eyes to BP because the people who weren't as skilled and didn't have access to it, they didn't kill you because they weren't as good and didn't have access to the gear, and you didn't think anything of it. So it's always good to rebase, I think, and go back and look at these numbers.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too because the distribution, or I don't know, the range, I guess is a better word, for like most of them is like 15 levels ish, but the 30 to 41 obviously is 11 levels. But it has a lot of, even though it's a smaller range, it still has the higher percentage. I mean, it's like I would love to know. Man, I wish we could get BSG's numbers on this stuff because it'd be so interesting to see like the entire player base where they're at and how many people are just starting out, or kind of like that mid progression, and how many people are at max traders and how many people are like on the path to Kappa and then at Kappa. I'd love to see like the full breakdown. But for 9K votes, like that's a pretty good sample size. I mean, that's definitely interesting to look at nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. 9,000 people is It's good enough, I think. With the with the bias that I mentioned before in mind. But yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating. I just feel like I always find the first category. It looks it's one of the smaller numbers, but like
Yeah,
11% of people who who are playing this wipe are like 0 to 15. It's always amazing to me. Like this is the end of the wipe. Like no one
yeah,
is expected to be under level 15. But to be fair, like the number of people that I found in factory or on customs or whatever who are under level 15, like I've shot probably a decent number of those people myself. Um,
yeah.
dude, honestly, it feels bad. Did I talk about this last time where I killed two guys, one level 3 and one level 5 with the Mark 18 with AP ammo? It was actually disgusting on woods, and
Maybe.
they actually had decent kits. I was like, fair play, right? They went out like kitted as best as they could with SKSs. With they both had OP SKSs with PSOs. I was like actually had a lot of respect for their kit. They were like playing woods the right way, and they had a decent equipment for it. They had like the SSH helmets on. They had some armor, like whatever the armor they could get, level class
Hmm.
3 or something. And they had they had OP SKSs with the PSO. I was like, respect. But unfortunately, one of them clipped me in the arm, and I was by a tree, and I just turned around. I had a thermal on a Mark 18 with AP ammo, and yeah, I felt very, very bad when I went over to find their bodies, and I was just like, "That's the real Tarkov experience right there."
Yeah.
Getting thermal Mark 18 through your class 3, um, it was pretty gross. I actually didn't even like. I ended up finding like Mark 18 in a box. It was the scav case, and I didn't even realize I had AP rounds. I think I must have just like not really noticed and tucked them away. And when I right click, say, "Oh, what ammo is compatible? Do I have any FMJ with me?" And it was just like 12 rounds of AP, and I was like, "Oh, no way!" We went and used a bit of it, and it was kind of fun. But those are the only guys that we found. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. But yeah, I mean, it's like there's actually a surprising number of people who are lower level that are just like cruising around the maps, just trying to practice up, or people. I guess either people who've come late, but I think it's more likely people who've just like bought the game, just like practicing whatever before the wipe. If you look anywhere, people will tell you that the wipe's coming, and just like learn as much as you can, do as many of the quests as you can, just to like get familiar with the game, like
Yeah.
learn as much as you can, and then jump back in. Like, don't try to just like join as the wipe's happening, because it's you'll then be trying to learn all that stuff also on day one, where everything's like a crazy scramble. So you're best off, getting to level 10 or something, and then
Yeah.
restarting and getting to level 10 again. It'll be so much faster the second time. It always is.
Yeah. I feel bad because my friend group, one of the guys, um, he tried playing for a bit. He was like his brother, and I think it was like maybe like a month in the 12-12 or something, but he just didn't was just having a hard time getting along with like Tarkov. And I mean, it's not like he's bad at first person shooters. Like he played PUBG back when that was popular. I guess just getting like acclimated to how Tarkov was or is, and I don't know. It's a tough game, But like funny story. He actually we found out that he had his speakers, his Windows audio set to mono. So that was like
Oh my
that
god.
was really troublesome once we figured that out a lot. But yeah, I kind of like he never returned. Sad to say, but yeah. No, that's interesting. 11% for your community, like pretty good. That's a pretty sizable type of owner, and definitely customs woods factory man. That's the place where if I see a really low level player on like shoreline or like interchange, I'm like, what are you doing here? That's a little sus. You know what I mean? What are you up to? Go back to custom.
Yeah, it's surprising, right? It's like, you know what I mean, right? It's just like 11% of people without access to the fleet, or I guess I did 15. I probably should have done 14, but whatever. And 72% of people without max traders. 72%. 3 out of 4 players that you meet on average, assuming
Yeah,
that there's an even distribution of all players throughout the map, which is not a true assumption, but if you assume that for a moment, 3 out of 4 players don't have max traders, which probably makes people who are experienced and play the game a lot with a 50% survival rate feel even worse about it if you only win half of your engagements. And you know, 3 out of 4 of the people that you're meeting there don't have max traders, and they kill you anyway. So, way to make me feel even worse about my skills.
I would love to see BSG's numbers, but I'd be really curious too to know like what's like the average. Maybe you break it up like the you probably just get an average, but it would just be interesting because I would wonder if like how long does it take the average person to reach like max traders, let's say if it's like 3 months, like what could they do to like have like almost like a cash I hate using the word casual, but like, less time investment progression, and then like as you said, like a Tarkov hardcore edition. Like you beat the game, quote
Mm.
unquote, and then now you get to play in this cool kids club where all the other, no life gamers get to play as well. It'd be cool to have something like that, because I don't think you want to like shove out like the more and more I'm playing this other game, V Rising. It's like servers like it's kind of like Daisy or Rust. You have like servers, and like servers
Yeah.
die basically because a bunch of people progress, and then there's kind of nothing to do, so they leave the server and they go server hopping. But like all the other casuals are kind of like still casuals, quote unquote, are just like climbing up the train. So I don't know, it's interesting.
Mm.
If they,
Yeah.
because like, man, dude, I really want to play Tarkov, but I really only want to do the wipe grind, because for me it's like we spent so much time talking about this stuff, and it's got me really excited for it because, dude, I just love the progression, climbing up the ranks. It's fun
It's
to me.
great. So much fun.
Yeah, trying to make
So
the
much fun.
worst out of a crap cake was great.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good, dude. Yeah, you said the worst, but it's
yeah,
fine. We know what you mean. There's nothing like,
and
just cheese grating your face up the learning curve of Tarkov
yeah,
every wipe.
yeah,
So
yep.
exactly. Well, yeah, I think that's it, man. I think that's it. By the time that we record the next Scav talk,
It
we
will be
could well
white.
have wiped.
It's very possible, and I will.
This might be it. This might be the last Scav talk of 1212.
It might be.
So I actually hope it is.
I do too. I'm eager to see what they change and fiddle around with some stuff and check out the new content stuff. That'd be cool.
We'll see. And we'll see what exciting hidden stuff that we haven't seen yet. That's
Yeah.
always the interesting part. So we shall see. We shall
I'll
see.
see. And with that, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you as always, and we'll see you next week.
Catch you next time.